OTAs in one, and then it will be training camp after that. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the way it is. Yeah. I mean, we got the rundown from Doug Marrone today, and that's what I liken it to. And I still can't get to the feeling of camp. I've tried all week to get to the feeling of camp. At times this week, I was in a bad mood because I was like, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing more.
Sure.
It's camp. It's supposed to get busy. We're supposed to start shows and all talk football all the time and be out at practice in 100-degree heat.
Yeah.
Hasn't transpired. And here we are on Thursday. Still hasn't transpired. And I finally come to grips with it's OTAs. Got to get an OTA mentality.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, to me, training camp's going to start when they put the helmets on. They actually go out there and, I don't want to say do a little hitting, but just do a little running around, let's say, with some helmet and some shells on, let's call it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't consider it training camp right now.
No.
Yeah.
What's interesting, and I didn't directly answer the question, Doug Marrone, today, but said he's going back to his college days. He was asked about scrimmages, like, will they do a little bit more of that, some live stuff because of the preseason? And I thought it was interesting because he said, yeah, I kind of went back to my college days. I'm embracing this. I don't mind this. It's okay. Like, I'm not angry that we're not doing preseason games. This is the way it used to be when I was coaching college. So he even went back to look at some of his examples of running practice and how physical they were. He didn't get into that much detail, but yeah. I think you could assume some of the things that he did. Didn't really, unless I missed it, I have to read the transcript, but while I was listening along, I didn't hear him say the scrimmage part. So we'll see how that evolves over camp and see if they do that. I think other teams have said they'll do some of that. Maybe it was Doug Peterson or somebody said, yeah, we're going to probably go live a couple of times to get that feel.
Sure.
And you would expect. So not much not much revealing. Josiah Scott came off the COVID-19 list. So he's back on the active roster. Jags have some good news on a lot of fronts. They don't have any opt-outs yet, unless something happened in the last little bit when I was driving in. And I don't think they anticipate any from what I heard earlier in the week from folks I talked to. But that doesn't mean people can't change their mind. Mm-hmm. And really the only news is not really news because we know it. And it's Yannick Ngakoue is not in camp. They don't really expect him in camp. They didn't say that, but I can tell you that I don't think they really expect to hear or see Yannick Ngakoue for the foreseeable future. In fact, I almost got the feeling that the coaching staff is almost like Yannick Ngakoue is not on our team. Like they're just planning without him and life after Jan, all that, or life without Jan.
Yeah.
And by the way, don't mix that up with, well, screw him. We don't want him on the team. No. Mm-hmm. I just think they've mentally, that was the feel I got. They've mentally moved on. Marrone hadn't even really talked to him.
Yeah.
So just letting the business take care of the business. And if he shows up, he'll be ready to go.
Well, I mean, they have to move on. There's no way right now that they can build the defense around Yannick Ngakoue. They, whether it's going to be Chase on or regardless of who takes his position, depending what the defense looks like this year, to expect Yannick Ngakoue here to be for, any time of training camp or even to start the season, it would be naive. So, yeah, I mean, I think the Yannick Ngakoue situation, it's one of those where you plan without him. If he shows up, that's an added bonus, and you can fit him in the rotation. You can fit him in where you see fit. But right now, you have to approach this season like Yannick Ngakoue is not playing.
Yeah, and I don't think we'll get much on that. It won't be a day-in, day-out saga. I think it's pretty much been like that for a year, and so it's anticipated that he won't. I did make my bold prediction that he might show up before Labor Day. Mm-hmm. That's why it's a bold prediction. Probably unlikely to happen. So we'll see what happens on the Yannick Ngakoue front. We'll get into what else was revealed today from Doug Marrone. I thought a little insight on the rookie class and a lot of hurdles. Mm-hmm. A lot of hurdles for not only the Jacksonville Jaguars, young players, but entire football teams. That's evident. That's just the way it is. We're a week into the baseball season. It started a week ago, and had a thought that I want to get into today. Well, first few surprises. Some of the big guns in baseball are not doing well.
No.
Your guy, Yelich. Trout is under 200, I think.
Yep.
Acuna has like 12 strikeouts in the first week. Judge did hit a home run, so he's one back now. But that was his first one. It took a week to get a home run. Well, he only played 4 games.
Yeah, correct. Well, yeah, how mad am I, man? Once you start running up that rhythm of Stanton, man, you had to start and then, you had to stop and start back up again. Yeah, it disrupts the rhythm. I'm upset with that. I want my money back.
I think even Mookie Betts he's been okay. He's had a couple of big hits. but I think he was 3 for 22 at one point. I don't know what he is now. We had a little fisticuffs. We had the whole Joe Kelly thing. Joe Kelly now an American hero, according to some. But I wanted to get into something a little bit later. How do you like the extra innings? The guy starting on second. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. I read an article today I found interesting about different philosophies and theories and strategies that have been employed already in week one. I think there's now been 6 extra inning games. And last night's game, I was watching that one, Dodgers-Astros, went to 13 innings.
Yeah,
so
watching that as well.
It's interesting how that's, it's not as eye-popping to me because we play in the travel ball world, and that's normal. So, like, if you're not in a pool game but in your bracket play, to speed things up, they'll put a person on second base. Some softball and baseball. They also have that's called a Texas tiebreaker. They also, I think, have called a Vegas tiebreaker where they'll load the bases with 1 out.
Oh, interesting.
So they'll try that.
Yeah.
It depends what tournament you're in.
Sure.
And so I guess we're used to it. And so the thing isn't as foreign to me, even though it's so different from Major League Baseball. And I want to get people's thoughts on it for the first week. Do you like it? Has it bothered you at all? And we'll talk a little Major League Baseball, including some surprises and what's gone down in the first week. Cuz, is it Christmas morning for you? Are you fired up? I mean, is that your third 76ers shirt of the week?
Trust the process, baby.
Third one? Are they different or the same?
No, the first one was a Gray Sixers one. The second one was a Ben Simmons one. Now this one's my Joel Embiid one.
Very good. Where's the TJ McConnell?
That I actually have in the office.
With the Pacers if they can make a run.
The problem is, well, now they don't have
I saw that.
Bogdanovic.
Yeah.
So, Oladipo shouldn't play. So, yeah. But, yeah.
We will get into today because I got to be honest with you. It felt like so far down the road, NBA and NHL. Well, it's happening. Mm-hmm. And you know what's interesting? I read up a lot on NHL today.
Good for you, man. I see you.
I'm actually excited about it.
About the NHL?
I'm might be more excited about the NHL and seeing what it looks like than I am maybe about the NBA or even Major League Baseball. That's weird, by the way, for me. So I'm interested in it, and I'll tell you some of the reasons why coming up. But we'll talk a little about the NHL, which starts on Saturday. And if you're a sports fan now, this hit me today too. I mean, this is unusual time to have all this going on, but it's a good time. You know, yesterday we had news. We actually had sports news with the ACC. We've had the opt-out stuff going on, but the ACC schedule, we anticipate the SEC will see something soon. So just the idea that we actually had news yesterday was like, whoa, okay, this is kind of different.
Yeah.
And not like coronavirus related. Well, it is in a way, but it's not like opt-outs and all that stuff. I mean, I'm almost a little bit fatigued on that kind of news. And what are we going to do in high school football? That kind of news. But this was like a schedule that's changed. It's different. That Notre Dame's in the ACC. That was newsworthy. So it got me thinking. I'm like, wow, in the next week, MLB is heating up and still going despite the Marlins thing. NBA is getting into playoff mode. NHL basically begins in playoff mode. Training camps and football storylines are happening. College football camps will go on and happen. We'll see where high school goes. And then on top of that, NASCAR is kind of coming toward the finish if you like NASCAR. UFC has continued to roll on with Fight Island and others. And we're getting into the major championship season in golf. Next week will be the PGA Championship. Next weekend. So, wow, it's fun. All of a sudden, September, once we get football games, if we get football games, we get football games, September could be like the month of all months.
Yeah. I mean, it's starting to feel normal again. Now, granted, when we watch the NBA, when we watch the NHL, and we're watching baseball right now, it doesn't feel truly like a regular season, right? There's different things. There's no crowd and things like that. But for the most part, though, with everything that's been going on the past, 4 or 5, 6 months now, to me, once the NBA and NHL come back, then we're back on track, Brent. Then we're back to our regularly scheduled programming. You know what I'm saying? Check your local listings. So with that being said, I'm excited, because now, number one, we have stuff to talk about again, which is great. We have other options to watch on TV besides, professional wrestling and UFC. Now we got basketball coming back, and there's baseball out there too and everything like that. But there's options again, and especially in this country, we are a country that loves to have the options. We are a country that loves to have everything at our fingertips. We love to see the highlights. We like to see the social media interactions, all that good stuff. But the most important part is that we have options once again. And I think when you have options, that's great for professional sports. Now, don't get it twisted, though. Like, as far as the NBA and the NHL are concerned, I mean, they're going to use the whole bubble model here, which obviously the NBA has kind of proven it's been working so far. We'll see what happens from there. But I think with a little pressure now from the NHL could have is, listen, you have one chance to make a good first impression, right? Like, even MLB, when they first came out, like, all right, yeah, you had a couple guys get COVID, but for the most part, it was, everyone was tuning into it. Same thing with the UFC. On the first card that you had in Jacksonville, one guy got COVID-19, but you still had a great card. Now, the Miami Marlins players all getting sick and things like that. Now we have some Phillies players as well getting COVID-19. I mean, as far as optics are concerned right now, I think the MLB is still doing okay. But you just have to remember, when you open up, you have to make sure all your bases are covered so you can put out a good product.
Yeah, and keep the product going.
Yeah.
I have so many conversations right now in TV and radio land where we're like, if there are games, please be games.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people from a business side looking forward to that, and I think from the fan side as well. Hey, I didn't even do this. I was so blown away, I guess, by your winning of Twitter yesterday with your Minshew video that
thanks.
didn't even mention. Like, it came across Facebook this morning. You got a fight coming up.
Oh, yeah, I got a fight coming up, man.
Locked in. I mean,
September
why do you
12th.
wait an extra day to tell us? Like, we should be breaking this kind of news.
That was my bad, man. I was waiting for them to announce it.
What are you holding back for?
I mean,
First of all,
there's a lot going on.
The Minshew video, you don't tag ESPN. No shameless promotion for 3 o'clock.
Well, we went over that. Didn't want to get us in trouble.
And now, no shameless promotion for a fight coming up.
I mean, I don't know. Do you want me to tag ESPN 690 when I got a fight coming up? All right, man. I'll be sure to do that.
Hey, do you see all the shameless promotion I do on social media?
I mean, when I'm on there, I see a little bit. I'm not always on there.
I just did more shameless promotion.
What'd
you do? Somebody sent you, Tyler B. sent you a Throwback Thursday. Go Jags. Like, that's pretty well done right there. Some artwork.
Oh, yeah. One
What
of
is
those.
that?
That's I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a wallpaper, right? Where you edit a wallpaper.
Have you seen that before? Did he have that before?
No, I've never seen it.
So he made it.
Yeah, he made it.
Well, so I just said, where's mine?
Yeah, it was a custom edit. Brandon,
Well, my question is, like, can we get
want one.
just Brent, like a bunch of action poses, behind the microphone. Let's get it, man.
Absolutely. I'll send you the pictures.
Yeah, let's get it.
We go back to the Ashland University days, Media League softball, golf course,
now
whatever
we're
you
talking.
want.
Now we're talking.
I need my own artist. Like all these. Hold on, Kuz. I just got a thought. But all these recruits. You see what they do when they say they're verbally committed and stuff?
Of course, man. It's craziness.
I mean, it's unbelievable, the artwork.
Yeah.
I need to find those people.
You do? Well, I mean, you get like your cartoon guy, though, that can do like the caricatures.
I
mean, that's a start.
I wonder how much the other stuff costs.
Oh, yeah. This was $3.99 right here. This was on the house, let's just say. I was thankful for that.
Sorry, Kuz.
Well, I was saying we should get that put on our, padding we have around the studio.
Yes.
Just get that art wrapped around it.
I mean, just on one of the panels have Austin.
Well, I was thinking all
The
of
other
them,
one
but
will
yeah,
be me.
the rest can be you.
And then, one of the panels.
Well, I'm just waiting for you to hang something up in your corner over here in the studio. It's so bare.
It's just got me.
I know. It's just you. It's just a cutout of you. Meanwhile, I got my dorm room going here. I got a bunch of things that remind me of home a little bit.
Nobody sees the dorm room anymore. We don't do the wide shot.
Hey, but you know what? I see it, and you see it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the most important part.
I was on a call earlier today before you guys got in. I was just, pacing around the studio, and I almost knocked over the snowboard, and I had like a heart attack.
Oh, that's fine, man. This thing's so old. I wouldn't mind that. Plus,
okay, good. I'll kick it next time.
Yeah, you can kick it, man. It's going to hold up. It's all good.
We need some artwork around here.
We do need some artwork around here.
Maybe after our big major announcement, we'll get some artwork.
Now we're talking. Cool is one thing, though. If you knock over my snowboard, don't mess up that sticker on the top of it, because that sticker's worth $200 right now on eBay.
Is that for real?
Yeah.
$200?
Yeah.
Let's sell it.
Well, I mean,
then we can afford to put stuff on the walls.
But it's already used though.
We kind of operate that way.
Who's gonna buy a used sticker though? Nobody. It's already used.
Well, if it's
but
worth $200, we could sell it to someone to
maybe
sponsor
half
the sticker.
price. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Shout out to Eddie Ayaku, by the way.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, what did Doug Marrone say today? What the big takeaways? Where is this Jaguars football team? We finally have some Jags talk. We're going to talk a little bit about it. And we did talk a lot about Minchie yesterday.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Oh, it was fun, man.
Minchie saved the whole city. I had him saving the whole city yesterday.
He is Batman after all.
Yes. What about Caleb on Jason? What about the others? We're actually going to talk a little hockey later on, too. We really are.
I can't wait, man.
I'll tell you why I'm kind of fired up for it. This could be the rebirth, the comeback for hockey.
You think so?
It could be.
How are you more excited than I am right now is what I can't believe.
I don't even know who's in it. It's not why.
Hey, literally everybody's in it besides the Detroit Red Wings. Everybody else
24
got an invite.
got in. All right, we'll be back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Join the conversation. What do you think about the Jags and this rookie class? The Duval dozen, if you will. Next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
A few scattered afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, partly sunny, hot and humid today into the mid-90s, dropping to near 75 tonight. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 at Fox 30. Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where for a limited time, you can get 5 years, 0-interest financing.
Hi, I'm Hunt Hawkins, CEO of Steinmart and chair of the 2020 First Coast Heart Walk. The Heart Walk is going virtual, and while we might not be able to meet in person this year, we still need you to support the American Heart Association's mission of being a relentless force for a world of longer, healthier lives for all. At Steinmart, caring is one of our core values, and we care about the health of our community. We will be unified in the fight to improve our health and the health of our families and our community. So let's walk. Register and start a fundraising team today at firstcoastheartwalk.org, and then make plans to join us on Saturday, September 12th to Heart Walk Where You Are. Let's make a difference in the fight against heart disease and stroke. Again, register today at firstcoastheartwalk.org.
Locally sponsored by Steinmart, Florida Blue, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Ascension St. Vincent's, Baptist Health, Brooks Rehabilitation, Main Street America, and Mayo Clinic.
Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233.
They're breaking all the rules at Diamonds Direct with an unprecedented store-wide sale going on now. Save 20% and more on an expanded selection. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, including trunk loads of all new designer pieces flown in from around the world. But hurry, this first time ever 11-day sale ends this Sunday. In-store, online, and virtual. All options open. All merchandise included. Even thousands of engagement rings on sale. An extraordinary sale for an extraordinary time. 20% savings now through Sunday only. Only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway.
Come to the grand opening of Q Delicia, the best Mexican-American sports bar in town. Enjoy ice-cold beer, $10 sangria pitchers, along with the best quesadillas and fajitas in town while watching the game. If you can't go, at least you can watch. But don't be surprised if you hear, goal! You can watch football, NFL, NBA, MLB, boxing, UFC, and more on multiple HD TVs. Visit Q Delicia for the grand opening on 3980 Southside Boulevard today. Q Delicia, the Mexican-American sports bar you never knew you needed. Call 904-253-3477.
Deep into the summer months in Northeast Florida, hotter weather means your family should be drinking more water, more clean water. With a Kinetico system from CGC Water, they remove up to 99% of contaminants. That's clean water. CGC Water is offering a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier softener. Connecticut Premier softeners are non-electric and have twin tanks, making them super efficient, saving you money. Schedule your free water test today. Get peace of mind knowing your family's water is safe water. CGC is taking extra precautions with in-home visits following CDC guidelines, including no contact sales and service appointments, with all employees wearing masks and gloves at all times, and employee temperature checks every morning before they send out their team into your home. Remember, a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier softener. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
The global coronavirus outbreak is stretching the coping capacity of even the best prepared countries. Yet the world has barely begun to come to grips with how coronavirus threatens the world's poorest communities. Send a care package at carepackage.org to those who need it most. These care packages will ensure hygiene supplies, hand washing stations, and drinkable water gets to people most in need. Visit carepackage.org to send a care package today.
Slip and falls can be embarrassing, leaving you in pain and feeling like you've lost control. I'm Eli Anajar from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. After a fall, document the scene by taking photographs and make sure to get medical attention for any injuries you may have. If you've been injured in a slip and fall accident, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation. And take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Say hello to your new secret advertising weapon, your own branded mobile phone number. StarStar Mobile provisions vanity mobile numbers prefixed by **, providing audiences an easy way to reach your business. Give it a try now by dialing ** Mobile from your mobile phone. That's ** Mobile. When prospective customers see your offline or online ad and they dial your branded ** Mobile number, ** Mobile helps to convert them through text, voice, and online communications. Give it a try now by dialing ** Mobile from your mobile phone. That's ** Mobile.
Mortgage rates are at historic all-time lows. There's no better time. Duval! Purchase your first home or refinance with Crossview Mortgage. At Crossview, they have a proven track record with VA loans and helping people even when the big banks can't. Get pre-qualified. Do your application by phone in minutes. Let them help you save thousands. Call Crossview Mortgage, 325-9008. That's 325-9008. CrossviewMortgage.com. NMLS number 1377291.
WFOX Fox 30 has been removed from the service of Dish Network after the satellite provider refused to agree to a fair deal for a new retransmission consent agreement with Cox Media Group. If you're affected by this decision to deprive you of important local news and programming during these critical times, make your voice heard. Call Dish today at 1-800-333-3474. That's 1-800-333-3474 and demand that they put Fox 30 back on Dish.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join. I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture. It helped me get my job, it helped me pay for my house.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
They fight in the swamp and face the eye of the storm. And next, they're coming to ESPN 690. Listen to Action Sports Jax tomorrow at 5 p.m. for a major announcement. This is ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN and the...
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick Wingo. Well, I'm assuming you can hear this as long as Justin didn't pull a Coos move and mess up. You're listening to Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
On the field, or how we bring players on the field, and you find things out. And what I mean by, you're constantly learning, it's like, okay, I mean, everyone's been part of a team before. After you're done as a team with a function, what do you usually do? You usually come together and get a break. All of a sudden I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, let's not do that right now. So these are the things that are, that are starting to come out, and trying to do it a better way. So from really A to Z, everything, you can't really say, hey, this is the same.
That is Jaguars head coach Doug Marrone talking about a bunch of stuff today in terms of how it's working, what they're doing, how it's going. And Doug got the goatee going.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
He's doing everything from, kind of like the press conference room.
Yep.
But on a team like a Microsoft. I don't know if your work is using Zoom or Microsoft Teams, but they use Microsoft Teams pretty much because they're sponsored by Microsoft, the NFL.
There you go.
So I thought it worked out well. I did ask him. I couldn't really get him to bite. We'll probably hear it a little bit later, but remember we were talking, like, what personalities are going to win the day when you're talking to the meeting and you do to everybody in the room and you're sitting in your office essentially being, hey, guys, we're going to go win the Super Bowl. I mean, you know that. Or when you're like, what the heck was that today at practice?
Yeah.
Right? I'm curious on what that looks like and how that changes when you're sitting in a room by yourself.
Yep.
Addressing people.
What is the reception when someone's trying to yell at you or give you praise over a TV, essentially?
It's
different.
Could. He said though it's not bad, and he said that the Perkins and the guys, the video guys, have been able to put a couple of monitors in so he can see the players reacting to him, or at least if they're sleeping.
They're falling asleep. that's the big one. Yeah.
He didn't say that, but I did.
Well, that's what it is.
And then, then I followed up. I'm like, well, what if you want to yell at him?
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'm not much of a yeller. He didn't really bite. But come on, every coach yells in a team meeting at some point, don't they?
Come on. Yeah, this is football, isn't it? Last time I checked. Yeah, of course there's going to be yelling in meetings. I just picture him like getting off the video screen, all of a sudden he just goes dark, and all of a sudden he just comes in the meeting room and violates the whole protocol. And I'm trying to get my point across here. You know what I'm saying? Like, where'd he go? Now he's in the room.
Coming down the hall.
Now he's in the room.
That's
all
awesome.
Right.
That's a great visual, actually.
Yeah.
Because that's the wild thing. He said they're doing it. He's called it interactive when they're all in the building together and they're doing this on the teams, like whether it's a staff meeting or not. They call it interactive. They're not all in the same room. If they're outside the building, that's when they're calling virtual. So like anything that like the rookies back at the hotel or guys at home, they say virtual. So they have some kind of verbiage of what's going on. I just think it's kind of tricky. I couldn't get him to talk a little bit more about it, but he did do a good job of painting the picture of what it looks like in there, what they have, and some of the things that we talked about the other day. I think it's a little bit challenging, but it's interesting. They've been out on the football field now 4 times with the rookies. So they've seen them. But again, he was asked about the rookies and what are the first impressions kind of, and he's like,
what can you tell?
They're doing a good job walking out there on the grass. I mean, and he wasn't trying to be a jerk. He was just like, it's that time of year. And that's what, when he said that, I was like, this is OTAs. Now, I'm not saying you can identify exactly what camp, like a first 3 days of camp, what a rookie looks like when you're at camp. But I just feel like with the fans out there's a little more buzz. There's the usual camp setting that we know. It's hot. Like there's a little bit more than walkthroughs right now. Walkthroughs remind me a little more of OTAs, and that's not really factual. Like OTAs aren't walkthroughs.
Oh, no.
But it kind of reminds me more of that. It's a little more low-key. Things aren't as amped up, in my opinion.
Everything's slowed down.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're trying to explain something to a player or show a technique, like you slow it down. If someone makes a mistake, you can call off the drill and slow it down for those players to kind of comprehend it a little bit. Obviously, in training camp, it's a little more higher intensity. It's obviously faster pace, and you don't have time to wait on somebody if they're not getting it. So this is obviously, right now, it's like the teaching period, and they're trying to acclimate them to what's about to come.
Yeah, and that's a good way to put it. So, again, here we are, and I've tried to tell everybody, and I've tried to tell myself, August 12th will be a better indication of what camp looks like, what the football team kind of looks like. But even then, I think we're talking 13, 14, 15, 16, probably August 17th when they probably really start ramping up. That's the ramp-up period to the season. That's the week where we'll start to be able to say, that guy looked pretty good, and we'll be able to attend those. So we'll at least be able to be more of a voice for the fans for what we can report. There'll still be restrictions on what can be reported. So that's a little bit going on there. They're keeping 90 guys. Yeah. Here's the thing. You have the ability. I want to ask you this. If you're coaching this football team, you have 2 options. You could keep 90 guys on the roster, and you have to split up practices with 90 guys. You cannot practice as a 90-man roster. Or you have 80 guys on the roster, and you can practice all together. I was a little surprised it's only that the 10 make the difference. But you can spread out 80 guys across the field. Now, you got to be there's a lot of restrictions on top of that, but you don't have to split practice up, okay? Where with the 90 you do. And what that even means, half the team could be meeting while the other team's out on the field, walk through. Again, this is until August 16th, which I think we all have to be aware of. When I ask this question, this is a slow ramp-up time. This is conditioning and walkthrough time. This is not training camp as you know it time. So if you were the coach, if you were the GM, the front office, which they had to wrestle with this decision, which would you prefer? How important are those 10 extra players?
Of this team we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Of the team I know right now. So, listen, well, first of all, 10 extra players, I mean, the fact that there's that much of a difference, to me, is a little ridiculous.
It seems a little ridiculous.
But it is what it is. Let's go ahead and follow the rules, and let's stick to the protocols. If I'm Dave Caldwell, if I'm Doug Marrone, I'm rolling with the 90 guys. I'm taking those 10 extra guys. Now, maybe you're listening in your car at home thinking, well, Austin, it's only 10 extra guys, and you have to adjust practice because of that. Why would you only, try to bring along 10 extra guys? And my reason would be this. If you go back to last year's team, a team that won 6 games, and you go from top to bottom in terms of the talent on that roster right now, to me, there's a lot of spots that are open right now to see who's the starter is going to be. Okay, there's a lot of spots that are open, number one, and number two, depth right now is aplenty. And when you have the youngest team in the NFL, you have to try to evaluate as many guys as you can. If I could bring 120 guys to camp, then I'm bringing 120 guys to camp, right? Because the last thing I want to do right now is let those diamonds in the rough fall through the cracks, okay? The last thing Doug Marrone wants to do right now, or Dave Caldwell wants to do, is one of those undrafted guys that they brought in. And obviously, you trust your scouts here in their evaluation of the talent. Scouts are getting paid too. So you trust that they've done their due diligence to bring the proper guys in that fit your team. So if you trust your scouts and you have these guys here that are undrafted, the last thing you want to see happen is one of those undrafted guys fall through the cracks and all of a sudden he's a Pro Bowler someplace else and you had him in your training camp. So that's why I want as many guys as possible. I want to see as many looks, as many personalities, and obviously as many skill sets as possible so I can try to evaluate the best talent to push things forward for this team.
It's a good call, and it's interesting you said it that way because you kind of echoed. First of all, Marrone had a decision to make in that respect, and he chose 90 for now. Secondly, you kind of echoed what he said later on about a different topic, and that was how hard is it for the young players to make the football team. He actually addressed it and brought it up. He's like, this is going to be a challenging camp for a young player, not only to make this football team, but to make any team, because you get that tape in those preseason games, and other teams keep an eye on that tape. They're watching that. They have the ability to see that.
Of course.
So we knew that. Right? I mean, once they canceled preseason games, we talked about undrafted free agents going to be really hard. But not only undrafted free agents, he kind of put them all in as young players. So to your point, he said that and also said all the work, the frustrating part of that, and I'm kind of using that word, he didn't, is that all the work that the scouts put in, right? The front office put in, the coaches put in, the input to draft guys in the later rounds, bring guys in as undrafted free agents, like them and say, hey, this could be a good fit. You really might not get a chance to see that work pay off or play out because of the lack of preseason games, the lack of opportunity to see those guys on the football field as you try to get your main, what I would say, 40 guys ready to go.
And this is what it comes down to, how you're going to operate practice and how you're going to operate this training camp. And I get it. The NFL right now is a copycat league. I mean, if a team that wins the Super Bowl does it a certain way, more than likely other teams have to follow suit a little bit. This is going to be different, though, right? Because every team right now in the rosters are constructed differently. The Jacksonville Jaguars are constructed a lot differently right now than the Baltimore Ravens, right? So one can make an excuse and say, you know what? I think Baltimore's main job right now is to stay healthy, and keep everybody obviously in that quarantine bubble because they have a really good shot of winning a Super Bowl. Now, there's probably some depth here or there, but for the most part, Baltimore is set in the roster. Jacksonville, on the other hand, obviously coming off a 6-win season, there's a lot of progress to make. There's a lot of new guys here where you have to get a proper look at. So with that being said, to me, you have to ramp up practice now, just because once again those preseason games are canceled. So it's all about most importantly, keeping the guys healthy. But there's a fine line between keeping guys healthy and also evaluating the talent the best of your abilities.
Yeah, it's a challenging thing, no doubt about it. Challenging for the rookies, challenging for the coaching staff, but really challenging for the young players and the rookies. They have to adapt, and you're going to find out who can adapt and quickly and just flourish. And sometimes, by the way, if you're just super talented, that stuff doesn't matter. But if you're on the verge, or on the bubble, I should say, well, those things matter. Preparation. It just depends what kind of personality you have. Like I always say this, but when I played baseball, I had to talk. Like I've tried. Like I had to talk the game in between pitches. There was so much downtime.
Sure.
So I had to do it. I tried not to on occasion, and I just didn't feel like I was involved in the game. Of course, I played the outfield, so there was a lot of downtime.
Sure.
And so for me, I had to do it. It wasn't, sometimes it was probably annoying to teammates, but I had to, for my own preparation, for me to feel like I was playing, I had to talk the game. Simple stuff, but had to talk the game. Everybody gets ready for a game a different way. Everybody gets ready for their practices, for work, for whatever, a different way. This is going to favor the guys that aren't like me and could care less what's going on around them and just go play.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind right now, too, so we're talking about, quote-unquote training camp starting up. It hasn't officially started up in terms of what we see on the field, right? But one thing you can take away from it right now, and that, the Jaguars have the advantage of, is keep in mind who they drafted this year, okay? There's a lot of rumors on social media, a lot of talks going on saying, oh, they got a bunch of choir boys, right? They're a bunch of goody-goodies. Well, to me, and I think you agree with me here, they're a bunch of high IQ guys, right? I think even some undrafted free agents are a bunch of high IQ guys. And it kind of shows you right now that Dave Caldwell, Doug Marrone are looking for a certain type of football player to try to meet this culture and turn things around a little bit, as opposed to a couple years ago, maybe take the risks a little bit in terms of maybe some guys had the off-the-field issues, things of that nature. Now it seems like they're going after guys who are more, well-balanced, let's just say, and once again, high football IQ guys. That's where you can find out right now when you're on the board, when you're doing these walkthroughs, what type of IQ guys you have. So by the time training camp starts, you kind of have an idea of, all right, I have to coach this guy this way. I have to coach this guy that way. And you kind of get a feel for that. So at least there's a little, I guess, silver lining in all this chaos right now.
Yeah. Were you coming in 2010? Would you have been all over the place in this setting, nervous in this setting? I don't know. I mean, you kind of were in 11 because of the lockout, right?
Yeah.
That would have been your second year.
That was my second year.
So there you had you were a young player in a weird situation.
Sure.
Everything starting late. So I guess actually you were there. I mean, young is young, first or second year. But I mean, put yourself in your rookie setting and that second year setting. And I know you're just hey, go get the quarterback guy.
yeah.
But how much is your head spinning and your nerves?
Listen,
going?
Compared to obviously my rookie year in 2010 to that lockout year, yeah, the lockout year was a little frustrating because it was the unknown, right? We didn't really know what to expect. We didn't know when we were going to start practicing. We didn't know when we had a report. There was a lot of question marks out there. But thankfully, we had veterans that kind of kept us informed a little bit. That kind of made us comfortable. And keep in mind, that was my second year. So I had a pretty good grasp of how things went. And once again, that line of communication between the veterans and the younger guys, it worked dividends for us. My rookie year was just, dude, it's you're in the NFL now. It's chaotic. Everything's faster. Everyone's stronger. The playbooks are more complicated, right? Coaches are yelling at you more than they did in college. Everything is literally different. And when I try to imagine what a rookie's going through right now, just to have that, and I don't want to say nervousness, but kind of just that anxiety where it's we're getting ready to roll. Well, you have that anxiety, and on top of it, now you have to learn, a new playbook. You have coaches that are all over you. It's just, there's a lot right now to take in as a rookie. So to me, it's like your rookie year, combining it with your lockout year, which I could never imagine, man, because I had enough anxiety just coming in a regular season back in 2010. I cannot imagine what these rookies are going through right now.
Most anxiety, freshman year of high school, freshman year of college, rookie in NFL, or first MMA fight?
Man, that's a great question. So I have to go freshman year of high school simply for the fact that
over an MMA fight.
Oh no, yeah. So get this though. So and you have to keep in mind where I come from in Iola, Scandinavia, Wisconsin. It's a very small town, but we take football very seriously. I mean, it's kind of like Texas, where Friday nights the town shuts down, everyone's there cheering on the T-Birds. My freshman year, an upperclassman thought it would be a good idea the very first day at training camp to hide my cleats. So I didn't have my cleats. So literally, it's my first day of practice. I'm excited. I got my practice jersey on. I'm putting those cotton pants that are like 10 pounds. Remember like the old school cotton, didn't breathe at all? Horrible, man. You want to talk about resistance training? Those cotton pants when you're sweating in the middle of the summer, it's out of control. So I'm putting these cotton pants on, put my helmet on. I'm like, where are my cleats? My cleats are gone. And literally, I couldn't find my cleats. So now I'm like, well, do I tell coach? What do I do? So I'm shaking. This is like my very first practice of my high school career, and my cleats are gone. Somebody hit them. So I go to coach, and coach is like, well, what do you mean you lost them? How do you lose your? So like, it's my fault. Like, I could have swore my cleats are in my locker. Now I'm thinking like, well, did I not bring them? Like, did I misplace them? Is this my fault? Should I even play football? Like, dude, I'm having all like these mental gymnastics go through me. So literally, we walk out on the field, and I don't have cleats on. And coach is like, somebody better tell me where Austin Lane's cleats are, or we're running. We're running right now. So people started, so that he made people run. Well, I'm not kidding, Brett. He made people run while I'm sitting there cleatless. And I'm like, can somebody just please come forward? Eventually, one of my very good friends, what's up, Jack Marks, talking to you? Well, one of my good friends, Jack Marks, hit my cleats on me. And after like the third sprint, he's like, all right, it was me. His cleats are behind like the water cooler in the locker room. And there they were. But like that was my introduction of high school football, man.
I love the fact that you actually went out there with no cleats on.
What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?
I guess nothing. Yeah. Sneakers?
Yeah, I mean, I literally out there like in my high football socks, and just soggy because the fuel was a little moist and everything. So yeah, just wet socks then the whole day.
Jack Marks.
How
big is Jack?
So Jack is tiny. I mean, tiny comparable to me. He was our starting halfback. So he was probably like a good 5'10", stocky, probably at the time 195.
How tall were you then?
I was 6'4", 185 pounds.
Oh, so he was messing with the big guy even then.
Messing with the big guy. I was 185 pounds once again. Can't reiterate that enough.
Yeah, still.
Yeah.
I just wonder if, as your career went along, he regretted that and wondered if you'd show up at his door.
No, trust me, man.
But you're good buddies with him.
Well, we're good buddies. You know how I operate, Brent. Obviously, I got payback, so that's all I'm going to say. I can't really tell that story, but I got payback.
Can't tell the story.
Can't tell that story, but I got payback.
FCC approved.
You better believe it.
Oh, now that's a great story. Get ready, freshmen in high school.
Yeah, man.
Where's my cleats?
Where are my cleats?
Check behind the water cooler in the locker room.
Now you're talking.
Good idea.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we'll take a time out. We come back. We talk a little bit more NFL. What's the latest college football? What's the SEC going to do? Top of the hour, Jason Christie from the Iceman will join us. Talk a little hockey. Yeah, hockey's coming up. NBA as well. NBA games on ESPN 690 tonight. Lakers, Clippers. Doesn't get much better than that to resume the NBA season. We'll have it all for you on the way back on ESPN 690.
Sí, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
American Airlines wants its middle seat back, Stugat.
I mean, they're ready to start cramming us back into airplanes already, wild spikes everywhere in the South.
That is correct. Yes, that is correct. Come on, your middle seat is an injustice of the highest order under all circumstances.
I'm telling you right now, I board a flight, someone's sitting in the middle seat, I'm leaving the flight, okay?
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
It happens to all of us. That AC unit just starts making some noise, or even worse, it's not working anymore. This is the time of year you don't want that to happen. It's way too hot around here. My friends at Bold City Heating and Air will help. They helped us. It started with a call from my wife, and she said the AC wasn't working. So we jumped on boldcityac.com, and before we knew it, they were at the door. Super friendly customer service, clean, timely, and personal service call. And now we're loyal to Bold City Heating and Air. They took care of my family. They'll take care of your family. It's a big investment in AC unit, but a necessary one. Mirrors at Bold City Heating and Air has built a strong culture, and as a customer, you can feel it. We felt it. The easiest way to start the relationship with an AC company you can trust is to go to boldcityac.com. Have Bold City Heating there. Check out your AC. Right now, it's $25 off and annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it's working efficiently. Good peace of mind at the very least. Visit boldcityac.com. Be bold and beat the heat at boldcityac.com.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you.
Okay.
Then you need to be online where they look for you.
Online, huh?
Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for all that. I need to run my business. Alexa, can you help me find someone that can help me with online marketing?
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level so you can get back to running it. Local Solutions, powered by Cox Media Group. Marketing solved.
You don't want just any old sale. You want the biggest sale with the biggest savings ever, right? Then you need to see my friends at Arlington Toyota today because they're having the one big-time sales event. Want low payments and zero down? Then get to Arlington now, because during the big-time sale, they have over 100 quality pre-owned cars you can buy at zero down and $199 a month. That's no money down and $199 a month for over 100 pre-owned vehicles. How about choosing from 50 quality pre-owned trucks and SUVs that you can buy at zero down and just $269 a month? That's no money down and $269 a month with over 50 pre-owned trucks and SUVs. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everybody approved. You even get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy for total peace of mind. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. What are you waiting for? It's the one big-time sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/big-time sale for full details.
They're breaking all the rules at Diamonds Direct with an unprecedented store-wide sale going on now. Save 20% and more on an expanded selection. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, including trunk loads of all new designer pieces flown in from around the world. But hurry, this first time ever 11-day sale ends this Sunday. In-store, online, and virtual. All options open. All merchandise included. Even thousands of engagement rings on sale. An extraordinary sale for an extraordinary time. 20% savings now through Sunday only. Only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you're usually listening to ESPN 690 in your car, we appreciate it. But your boss has you working from home this week, so take us with you. Your smart speaker brings ESPN 690 into your home office. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home to play ESPN 690.
Trey Wingo here from Golick and Wingo. You're listening to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane. Give the guys a call. Grab your cell phone and call *690. This is ESPN 690.
As a coach, you love for that perfect harmony between, management and the player as far as the business end of things. And I think when you look at it, both sides, have rights from a management side to a player side. I think as a coach, you're always looking for a solution, that you can, be part of to help bring parties together. But, Dave would probably be able better to speak on where everything is at as far as, talks or whether they've talked or not, because with all the stuff that we've had, really the majority of my time has been really been with the protocols of keeping the players safe and being able to see what the best way is to ramp this thing up.
That's Doug Marrone talking about Yannick Ngakoue, the business side of things. Really nothing doing. There's nothing doing, and nothing will be happening. It doesn't look like. Where else you want to go with the on talk? I mean, stuck in the sand. Everybody buried in their own beliefs on this one. And not a lot of movement. That's as simple as can be. I told you last week, said I've heard that like nobody's talking to Jan, like coaches aren't talking to Jan. I think at times in some of these things there would be some conversation between player who's handling a business situation and keep them up to date on things and everything. I don't think there's that right now. I think there might have been that last year during this stretch. I don't think there's that from what I've heard. And I think Marrone more or less said something similar today. The fact that he hasn't talked to him.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make the case. Can you make the case that Yannick Ngakoue is their best player?
There's a pretty strong case. I think one could say maybe Josh Allen just because, but that was a one-year thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think...
And I'm talking best player on the football team. I mean, can you say he's better than Leonard Fournette, DJ Chark?
Yeah.
Can you say he's better than Brandon Lynn? I mean, is he your guy, your star player? He would have, by the way, if they could have come to an agreement, he'd have the richest deal on the team.
And listen, I think that the past 3 years have been very indicative that, he probably built to his resume right now what we've seen the past 3 years, or he can go back longer with other players. I think right now he's got the strongest resume on that team.
Yeah.
So the best player then.
Does it surprise you then, the lack of communication?
No, because
not in this situation?
Not at all. Because let's be honest here. Yannick Ngakoue wants one thing. He wants out of Jacksonville, okay? So if you can't give that to him, I think he's coming from the base now where if you don't give me what I want, what's the point of even talking to you? I mean, there's nothing to talk about. Yeah, I'm training. I'm doing good, yada, yada, yada. But I think the time now for small talk and just catching up is over. I think he's kind of stood himself in the ground of what he believes, and obviously the Jaguars feel the same way. So I don't really see any terms of reconciling anytime soon. So with that being said, I think it's just all sound on the Western Front right now.
Let me ask you this real quick. One more thought on the on-front. Some of this might be business, right? Some be like, hey, maybe it's the front office, Caldwell and Bulky and those guys, or maybe it's Shad Khan, or maybe this is a directive from Shad Khan. So it could come from those two places. Say, hey, coaches, position coach, Todd Wash, Doug Marrone, we're not talking. Not talking until something gets figured out. So I know that's normally you would. I know you like the guy. I know he could be a big part of the team. But right now, quiet on the Western Front. So that could be the order. Is it possible that the coaching staff at all, Marrone, especially Marrone, has taken umbrage with the stand of Ngakoue, that he wants out of Jacksonville so bad, and this is my football team. If I'm the guy, if I'm the boss, and I understand it's Shad Khan's football team and Tony Khan and Dave Caldwell, but it's Doug Marrone's football team. And you got a player basically saying, I don't want to be here. Like, I don't want to play for you. Could the coaches take umbrage with that on their own? Do you think there's even a little bit of animosity in that way, or do you think this is more an order by the organization, be like, listen, we're not going to have communication?
So you mean umbrage between, do you think Doug Marrone wants communication is what you're saying for the betterment? Yeah, well, guess what? Let's be honest here. Regardless of
or do you think he's doing it on his own is what I'm saying? Do you think it's an order or from the top, or is it, do you think he's like, nah, screw that guy. We ain't talking to him until either he figures it out.
Yeah.
But we're not going to coach him up for him to go play with another team. He doesn't want to be here. I don't want to talk to him.
Listen, I think Doug Marrone understands the business, right? And like in terms of making it personal, like Yannick Ngakoue has never called out Doug Marrone as far as I know. Right now, he called out Tony Khan and things like that, and that's another side. But I think from Doug Marrone's perspective, they're okay as far as I know.
He also hasn't said, hey, I love Doug or anything like that.
For sure. But with that being said, though, listen, regardless of what happens this year, regardless of the Jacksonville Jaguars win 2 games or they win 10 games, guess what? Shad Khan's job is safe. All right? The front office job is safe. Or other than that part, the ownership is safe. Doug Marrone's job is not safe. Okay? Now, I don't know how much of an excuse you can use for the COVID-19 pandemic for, your record this year, whatever the case. So my point is Doug Marrone's job is not safe. So to me, if I'm Doug Marrone, I would at least try my best to try to have a little form of communication with Yannick Ngakoue, because let's assume that Yannick Ngakoue does come back. Well, guess what? If he comes back and plays, that helps my team win, regardless of the optics, the culture.
Absolutely.
If Ngakoue comes back, that helps my team win.
Yeah.
If I'm Doug Marrone, that's what I need to happen, okay?
Yeah.
I need wins more than anything right now. So with that being said, I think if you have a little line of communication with Yannick Ngakoue, that's only going to help things, obviously, if he doesn't, if he does come back to the team.
Yeah, and that's a big if, obviously. But it's no different than if Jamal Adams didn't get traded. Adam Gase isn't going to be like, listen, I don't want that guy to play for us. No, we need him to help us.
Why wouldn't you want him?
Yeah, I don't care if he called me out and said all this stuff.
Yeah.
We need to win.
Yep.
Coos, you tweeted within the last hour, you got a message. Good afternoon. We need people who can put Baby Ruth candy decal on their vehicle. We offer $500 weekly. For more information,
What did I make here?
Say yes. How do we all sign up for that?
I responded, sure.
Yeah, I'm in.
It said respond, say yes, not sure.
That's probably why I haven't heard back.
Follow the damn rules, Coos.
Baby Ruth, huh?
Is that real? Are these things real? You did
It's
respond.
totally a scam.
You responded.
Yeah, I said sure to see if it was actually a person.
Listen, anytime someone comes in Kuz's mentions or messages, he responds, man. He's excited. You know? He starts to get verified on Twitter. What are you
Far
going
and few between do I get contact.
Baby Ruth.
When we come back, something we hardly ever talk about here on the show. It's on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Take a bathroom break, you're going to be good.
I'll be all right.
All right, cool. See you there.
Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233.
Chevy says take 15% off a brand new Equinox, but at Gordon Chevy in Orange Park, we think there should be more. So we're adding up to 5% more. That's right, up to 20% off a new Equinox or a discount and 0% for 84 months. Only at Gordon Chevy in Orange Park during the Open Road event. We have lots of great Chevys in stock, including the all-new Trailblazer. Come see us at Gordon Chevy, just voted the #1 car dealer for the second year in a row. Gordon Chevy in Orange Park, online at gordonchevy.com. Chevy, find new roads.
Come to the grand opening of Q Delicia, the best Mexican-American sports bar in town. Enjoy ice-cold beer, $10 sangria pitchers, along with the best quesadillas and fajitas in town while watching the game. If you can't go, at least you can watch. But don't be surprised if you hear, goal! You can watch football, NFL, NBA, MLB, boxing, UFC, and more on multiple HD TVs. Visit Q Delicia for the grand opening on 3980 Southside Boulevard today. Q Delicia, the Mexican-American sports bar you never knew you needed. Call 904-253-3477.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right?
Of course, making sure you have no holes in your defense.
Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless, and you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G.
And no contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. Check out terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Oil change coming up? We can help you out. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $27.99. And if you need it fast, we can help you get it fast. Whether it's at home with our next day delivery or in store and curbside with our free same day pickup. The choice is yours. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
They fight in the swamp and face the eye of the storm. And next, they're coming to ESPN 690. Listen to Action Sports Jax tomorrow at 5 p.m. for a major announcement. This is ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN and the Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The Marlins now have 19 positive tests for COVID-19. Another player has tested positive, and the Phillies now have 2 positive tests. Neither of those are players. But the Phils series with the Blue Jays this weekend has been postponed. The Phillies played the Marlins to open the season. Neither team has played since Sunday. The 22 teams in the NBA bubble will each play 8 games to determine the first-round playoff matchups. It starts tonight with the Pelicans and Jazz, followed by the Lakers and Clippers. ESPN's Doris Burke.
What happens when LeBron James is off the floor for the Los Angeles Lakers? His minutes will be huge, but there's going to be 2 or 3 minute windows where he gets a rest. and those can define a series.
Doris Burke on Golick and Wingo. Lakers and Clippers tonight on ESPN Radio starting at 8:30 Eastern. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reports the Carolina Panthers cut kicker Graham Gano. Gano missed all of the 2019 season with a sore plant leg.
Cover all your bases with Straight Talk Wireless. Get the same networks as big carriers, only pay up to 50% less. Get the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G for just $45 a month. Only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Even though we're not going to be occupying the same space, it's obviously much easier to be able to, see where everybody is and be able to look at that. So Mike and the video staff did a great job of really putting in, these webcams where, I can actually see everyone. I have 2 monitors or getting a second one put in now when we get to the full roster, where I'll be able to see everyone, see everyone in the room. They can see me. So, that's something that I would chalk up to that learning experience of, hey, listen, what's comfortable, what's uncomfortable, what do you think, can really help us? And, we were started on that very early in the process, knowing that it was probably going to carry on to the season.
Doug Marrone talking to the media today. By the way, we'll get the rookies tomorrow. C.J. Henderson, Caleb Chason. We will hear from them. Gardner Minshew next week. Marrone is scheduled to talk a couple times a week, and always good with the media. Doug Marrone has been fantastic in his time here in terms of relationship with the Jacksonville media. It's a great. I think it's almost like more of a story, or it should be more of a story at times, how his persona here versus the persona that when he was hired we had heard about.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the image of Doug Marrone coming from Buffalo and other places was not what we've received.
Yeah,
which in a good way. So was that erroneous? Did he change? I think you give him a lot of credit for what he's been able to do up front with the media and fans, and he's usually an open book on a lot of different things, not afraid to talk about anything. You can ask him anything. He understands the position of the media and the fan interest, and especially this year given what's going on. So he's done a pretty good job with it, in my opinion. Now he's going to go win more football games, no doubt about it. This is a guy that knows all about winning games. It's part of the job, and he's done a heck of a job of it in the ECHL. We're going to talk some hockey on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, and the Jacksonville Icemen head coach Jason Christie. What's happening, man?
Hey, guys. How you been?
I've been fantastic.
Doing great, Coach.
Austin's been great. How are you doing? Family good?
Our family's doing well. Yeah, we're just trying to get through this year. But, when obviously you're with the baseball there, Brent, I was watching Austin. He controlled that room pretty well by himself in there.
Brent said it.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I gotta let him breathe a little bit,
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here. He's intimidated.
Turn me loose, Brent. Turn me loose, man.
Hey, Mike, like most people, he's intimidated by me, Coach.
Yeah. You know what? It was good afternoons being able to just sit there and listen. And you guys do a heck of a job. That's awesome for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Hopefully you did a good job teaching school. Last time we talked to you, that's what you were doing with your kids.
Yeah. They both passed. So thank God for Google.
That's what every kid says, and now adult probably says along the way. Jason Christie with us, Jacksonville Icemen head coach. We're not going to keep you too long. I'll mess this whole thing up. I was planning on today, but we had really discussed with Alex Reed over there with the Iceman tomorrow. So I appreciate you coming on today. We're going to talk a little NHL, and who better to do it with than you. So appreciate you, but we won't keep you long. Give us a quick update on the Iceman. You guys are making some moves and all full steam ahead for later in this fall. And then, of course, the All-Star game will be right here in Jacksonville in January.
Yeah, obviously right now the way things are going, we're signing guys. We got a few guys signed. There's some guys that haven't been announced yet. We're just kind of waiting on them. But, we're full steam ahead here as far as getting players in and stuff. And I know Andy and Bob are doing a heck of a job here just keeping us up to date on, obviously, our league and, our start time and stuff like that. And, they got, obviously, phone calls and that later on next week, I think, or week after. But, we just got to be prepared, be ready. I think, turning to the NHL, how awesome that is to watch hockey. It's phenomenal. Yesterday I watched 11 hours of it, so it was great.
Wow. Well,
That's
hey,
awesome.
that's a great segue because I was reading up on what's going on in the bubbles up in Canada and how they're going to pull this off, and the 24 teams and the kind of qualifying rounds, and even the top 4 teams in each conference are going to play each other and determine new seeding. It's really interesting. And how hard is it to jump right back into the season and begin with your playoffs, Coach? I mean, that's the most intense time of the year. It's going to be tough for these guys.
Well, no question. And that's the biggest thing. I think being able to come in, you know what, the number one thing, though, they had, 4,900, something around there, tests, and they're all positive. So that was not in a bad way, positive in a good way, where nobody had obviously tested, bad for the corona. But, just that alone, I think kind of relieves a lot. But then you get into the games and to be able to have one exhibition game. But, I think hockey, I'm obviously biased, but, it's probably one of the meanest sports and the hardest sports to play. And, they're jumping right. That's the best thing for the fan zone. Like, I know it's tough for the players and obviously the coaches and that, but, you want to gain that interest for the people watching, and I think they're going to see it right off the hop. It's best of 5 to start, and it's starting on Saturday here, and it's going to be great. It's intense, and it's going to be the best thing about it. It's quick, it's fast, and it's going to be a big, good time to watch.
Well, Coach, and speaking about being a good time to watch and the entertainment value, obviously the NBA playoffs are starting up too. And when we talk about the NBA playoffs, obviously the Milwaukee Bucks are favored. You have the Lakers being favored. Like, you have a pretty good idea of the teams that you're probably going to see in the championship. In terms of the NHL, man, and especially last year, St. Louis Blues kind of proved it a little bit, where necessarily the most talented team doesn't always go to the final. We saw Tampa Bay go out early last year. A St. Louis Blues team who didn't have a lot of household names but played a great style of hockey, had great goaltending at the end. They won the championship. So with that being said, do you think this year we're going to see more of those talented teams make a run, or is this really up for anybody's grab right now?
When I say that's a great question, Austin, but I think the best thing about right now is so many teams had 6 guys out. Honestly, there was at least 8 to 10 teams that had 4 to 6 guys that top end players that were hurt. Well, now they're all healthy and now they're back in the lineup. So even St. Louis had Tarasenko out, and the big defenseman there, Parenka there. But anyways, I probably butchered his name. But the best thing about what we're going to see is every team's going to be going in, and now it's anybody's ball game. And as we know, any kind of championship run or playoff run, whoever's got the ball rolling, and it's all about bounces and creating those bounces is going to have the best opportunity. And you said it last year with St. Louis, last place by January, and then they ended up winning the Stanley Cup. But they got on that roll, and the biggest thing is their goaltender got hot. You know what I mean? I think last night watching the game, when I watched Winnipeg there, it was pretty late. But, with Winnipeg playing, Hellebuck just made some unbelievable saves, and, he's playing well right now. So it's going to come down to the hot goaltender for sure.
Coach, obviously this is a different year, right? I mean, guys have been laid off for a while now. They're entering the bubble, getting ready to start out this playoff run here. In your opinion, does this kind of situation, does it favor more the young teams like a Colorado, possibly like a Carolina Hurricanes team, or does it favor the seasoned veterans who've been there before, kind of like a Bruins team or a Caps team here?
You know what? It's going to be, you said the Caps. I was talking about that today, guys. You got to have that swag, and that's something that, teams go out there and they play really well, but they just can't get it. Where, I watched Capitals yesterday, and it's kind of like they're going through the motions. they had everything. They have that swag that carries them into wins, and that's a huge thing too. When you're down a goal or 2 goals, and hey boys, we're okay here. On the flip side of that, when you just got an energized team that has never been there before, they're thinking, oh, we got to get it, and then next thing you know, you're on the outside looking in. So, I think the biggest thing here is just looking at, like Capitals, obviously the Jets here and stuff. But, for us, just so you guys know, like, we have 3 guys. We've been here 3 years now. We have 3 players that are on teams' roster for the playoffs in the bubbles right now. So, obviously, for us as an organization, that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask you about that. Jason Christie with us, Jacksonville Iceman head coach. Talk a little NHL playoffs as well. And what kind of pride is involved in that for the organization here in Jacksonville, for you as a head coach? I'm talking about butchering names. Let's see if Jansen Harkins, goaltender Mikhail Burdin, who was outstanding here when he was here. Everybody thought he would make it to the NHL at some time. They're playing on Winnipeg's playoff roster. And Michael McNiven on the Montreal Canadiens. Did I get the names almost right?
Yeah, you got them all right. That's for sure.
There you go, Brent.
The one guy who's on the outside is Cole Sherwood with Columbus Blue Jackets. So he didn't make the bubble, but he's there if something happens. Okay. I'm pretty sure he'll end up there. But so that could be 4 guys. But with those guys, what I mean, for us, we're down here to develop players, right? And you only have very few that really get that great opportunity in the NHL, and they're going to battle like crazy just to obviously make the higher leagues and go as far as they can. So, when we can go into these teams that are in the bubble and have, 3, potentially 4, that's huge for our organization.
Absolutely. Jason Christie with us. I know you got to run. One more question for you. Here's why I'm excited.
Yep.
I'm excited about these next few weeks because of the 24 teams, because of the playoff hockey, and we know playoff hockey is just, listen, it's flat. For you, it's not, but for the casual, it's better than regular season hockey. It just is. And they're also adding 30 or 12 more cameras to the broadcasts. And they're also kind of like what you did yesterday, watch 11 hours of it. There's going to be 15 hours of hockey, like nonstop, the way they've set these schedules. We need stuff. We want stuff. Yeah. Like, we're done mowing the lawn, I mean, how important is this for the NHL? How much could they win over some more fans, the casual fans, the young fan, based on how they present it with 32 cameras instead of 20, and also just the amount of hockey that you can view?
Well, I think you just said it right there, though, Brent. Like, just the amount of hockey, but the character of it right into the playoff style. Like, that's win or go home. You know what I mean? Like, that's something where they have that mentality where they're going to play hard each and every game. There's not going to be those nights off. So it's going to be hard fought. That's for sure. And, for me watching it, I got 2 TVs set up. I'm ready to go. I won't catch East and West. That's the hardest thing for me right now is those 10:30 games out in my hometown in Edmonton there. I struggle a little bit getting that late.
Coach, I got to ask you real quick before we have you go here. So the NHL draft lottery, excuse me, I watched it, man. I got suckered in an hour. I waited for 50 minutes. It was like American Idol. The last 10 minutes, they finally reveal who was going to be taking the draft lottery. Obviously, it was an interesting situation where a playoff team is going to have the number 1 pick, and obviously that's going to be Lafreniere, who's obviously like maybe the next Sidney Crosby. We'll see. But with that being said, does that kind of turn NHL fans off a little bit? The fact that a playoff team now is going to have probably one of the best overall number 1 picks in the draft for the past maybe 5 or maybe 10 years now?
You know what? I think it would have if this would have been dragged out, if they wouldn't have played. You know what I mean? But now I think it just adds another element to that draft. You know what I mean? Like, what team is going to – and the thing about this is Winnipeg has that if they can't get by Calgary, they're pretty much automatic in for that first. I'm not for sure saying that, but, I think they got that good chance because they're in that 12th spot, I'm pretty sure. So, that'd be huge for the city of Winnipeg and that. But at the end of the day, it just adds that other element, that more excitement. Well, who's going to be that team now? Now they have another date to add on their calendar to, for the fans to get excited for.
All right, you got to roll. Thanks for joining us, Jason Christie, Jacksonville Iceman. We look forward to his season here in the fall, man. Be well.
I appreciate it, guys.
You bet. Jason Christie, Jacksonville Iceman. Head coach, talking some hockey with us and the playoff. I'm telling you, I was reading up about it today, and I I got excited. I want to go back to what I said to Coach Christie there, and that is usually hockey is presented with 20 cameras, they say. That's what I was reading said. They're going to have 32 cameras, and because of the restrictions when there are fans in the buildings, well, now you don't have that. So now you can put cameras in places that you normally wouldn't be able to. So I'm not saying this will be the new wave unless they reconstruct arenas and they love one of these cameras or something like that. But this will be presented in a different way. Like, how cool is that to potentially to see angles and things that we don't normally see, hockey presented in a different way. And some people that were talking about it that I was reading, like, it's not the greatest viewer sport. You want to be there, right? How many people say, hey, hockey's way better if you're watching in person?
Without a doubt.
No doubt.
Yep.
A lot of things are. But it's not the best TV-friendly sport because sometimes hard to follow that puck.
It's just so fast-paced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to see that. I'm interested in seeing that. Does that capture people like me, and not just because I'm in the TV business, but I'm just saying from a viewing standpoint, we're like, hey, this is pretty cool, man. This is cool. This showcases something that I didn't really notice before about hockey.
So it's going to be interesting from a new visual aspect and also an audible aspect as well, because keep in mind, we talked about the NBA playoffs starting back up, what it's going to sound like. You know, you're used to hearing sneakers kind of squeaking on the floor. Will you kind of replace that with crowd noise or music? The same thing for hockey. When people are making their carve and their turns, I mean, that's loud. That's evident, right? And now that the crowd is gone, the NHL is kind of looking at a couple of different, kind of suggestions here. And one of those, they actually went to EA Sports. And EA Sports used to make the hockey games like they've recorded every single NHL arena, right? And then they got like the chants or anything like that. So depending who the home team's going to be, they might, put the crowd noise in there and the chants for that home team to try to give them a little, obviously, of a home ice advantage, number one, but also make it kind of cool to come across on our television sets.
It's a good thing you said that, too, because I was reading more on that. They even went as far to say they got, like, the Bruins, I think it was, booing.
Yeah.
And then also the Gary Bettman, the commissioner who always gets booed, they may incorporate that when they hand out the Stanley Cup. However they hand out the Stanley Cup, it might not be a usual presentation, but they may put the booze in there for that. So it'd be interesting to see how they present it.
Tradition,
I think
baby.
somebody asked me, I don't know if it was somebody on Twitter or I can't remember now in the last day, like how are they putting in the fan noise in Major League Baseball? And I think it's off MLB The Show, right? Like the video game.
Yeah.
I think that's how they did it as well. So NHL is kind of taking a bit of a page out of that, and they're messing around with these the exhibition games that they did play or are playing like right now. They just get like one game. That's it. Like it's not like this. Summer camp for baseball they ramped up with like 7 to 10 games. Or actually, might have been a little more than that. Might have been 10 to 12 games.
Even the NBA as well. They've
had these last week of exhibition. NHL's not doing that. It's basically one game and then get in there and play. But I think during those games they're going to test out the fan and how they use it, and should it be a little more subtle, a little louder? Because I guess some of the MLB players have complained about it almost from a distraction standpoint. But it's interesting. Interesting, though. I'm kind of locked into it. I want to see it. I'm not going to watch 15 hours of it. I'm not going to blow smoke here.
Sure.
But I'm interested to see the different camera angles, the instant playoff action that means so much, and just how it all works. One other thing from the article I read, they've never played hockey this late.
Yeah.
The summer months in Canada, there's a small concern, not a big one, about the ice.
Yeah.
Because of the temperatures. Now, again, it's not outside, but just even the opening and closing of doors, they're hoping the ice maintains its status. They're not overly concerned about that, but it's something they even thought about.
Well, and keep in mind, too, and we kind of touched on it a little bit with Coach here, including the draft lottery here. So Alexis Lafreniere, whoever has the number one pick is going to get him. He's like supposed to be maybe like the next Sidney Crosby. Like he's that coveted right now at the number one spot. Well, whoever loses out in this bubble thing obviously has a better chance to get him.
Yes.
So it begs the question, what is this going to look like from teams where, maybe if listen, our team probably isn't going to go deep in the playoffs. I mean, I don't want to say tanking. I'm not going to throw the word tanking around. But obviously, if a team goes out early, they have a better shot of getting, the blue chip prospects.
The next Sidney Crosby, the next Wayne Gretzky, the next
I
Mario
don't say
Lemieux.
Wayne Gretzky, but up there.
But for hockey folks, it's like if you say the kid's name, people are going to, for average sports
For
fans, they're like, whatever.
Yeah, but it's not big of a deal.
Yeah, it's the next guy.
Yeah, and that guy is going to one of the teams right now playing in the playoffs. It's crazy.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Different way to do it. And again, we talked about this way back, and the NFL doesn't have like a decision on this, at least that I know of, because I've talked to people within the Jags, and they have no idea about it. So they don't know what would happen. And that's if, like, there wasn't a season, how would you draft? Remember we had that conversation?
Correct.
Like, who would get it? Well, this is because there's so many teams making kind of this playoff.
Yeah.
To your point, you potentially could get a pretty decent team.
Absolutely.
Getting the number one pick.
It would be unheard of. Like, imagine an NBA. So, imagine the overalls. Imagine Zion Williamson going to like the Utah
Lakers
Jazz or like the Lakers. Yeah, just a team that's already established. Exactly. That's what it's the equivalent of.
Well, and that's what they're afraid of in football, right? It's the Chiefs or the Patriots. Really, the Patriots would be the ultimate, although there's a chance they're tanking for them anyway. But one of those teams having the number one pick or the number two pick. And that's why when we talked about that before, I don't mind the idea of taking teams that were non-playoff teams. Like, say you didn't play a season. Take the non-playoff teams, put them in a hat, and draw the lottery.
Correct.
Take your playoff teams, put them in a hat, draw the lottery. So those 12 teams that made the playoffs that you would think are ahead of everybody else and better than everybody else, they don't get a chance. Now, you still could get a team like, maybe it's would be like the Rams. But I think they didn't make the playoffs last year, right?
No.
So it could be the Rams who think they're pretty good, have some talent around them. Well, they could end up with number one pick. Well, that would be fine because that would be Jacksonville's pick.
Of course, man. You take that all day. Take it all day. Absolutely.
But anyway, you could still get a little bit of imbalance, but maybe not as much imbalance.
True.
You almost wonder maybe the NHL could have done that. And honestly, I don't read up on the NHL daily. I don't know if there were those discussions that couldn't you just take the 8 teams that didn't make it or however many teams didn't make it and put –
for the draft lottery?
Yeah.
Well, no, that was the thing, right? So the 8 teams that didn't make it had the best shot of getting it. Unfortunately, the way
but they didn't. That's what you were saying, because the lottery didn't pan out
because the lottery didn't pan out that way.
But maybe my point being they just couldn't get it, though.
Yeah.
Like, it had to go to one of those 8 teams.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I mean?
Which I agree with you. Like, that's what upset me a little bit. Like, you have obviously the top 8 worst teams in the NHL. Why wouldn't you reward them with the best player coming up in the draft?
Yeah. That's what it's there for.
Exactly.
That's what the order is presented to do.
But it's COVID-19 and it's a different year and all that stuff.
Well, and listen, once in a while you become the Indianapolis Colts. You're the Colts that you're good for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then you have an awful year and you end up with a number one pick.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, you just kind of luck into it, really. No pun intended.
Very, very good.
Or was it intended?
I think it was intended.
You better believe it.
A couple things to get to. Where do we stand on college football? Also, Major League Baseball. Do you like the guy starting on second in extra innings? Reasons to like it, reasons to not like it. But it's provided some entertainment. We'll have that story coming up. We're going to take a break. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. A little bit later on, we get to the NBA. It starts tonight. Lakers, Clippers, tonight on ESPN 690. We've got games on ESPN 690. Basketball and baseball. And hopefully down the road, a little football, too. We'll update you on the football side of things, college, and back to the Jags for a topic or two. Still on the way here on a Thursday on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny, hot and humid today. A few afternoon and early evening showers and thunderstorms. Highs in the mid-90s, dropping into the mid-70s tonight, and partly sunny tomorrow. Just an isolated afternoon storm, and temperatures into the mid to upper 90s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 at Fox 30. Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where for a limited time, you can get 5 years, 0 interest financing.
After a long day, having my dogs greet me at the door with their silly smiles and wagging tails makes me happy. I want to keep that joy with me for years to come. That's why I trust Forever Vets Animal Hospital to keep my pets healthy. Forever Vets was voted 2019's best vet in Jacksonville Magazine's Readers Poll, and it's easy to see why. The affordable wellness plans are tailored to meet all of your pets' changing needs as they grow. Open 7 days a week, Forever Vets friendly staff is available to treat you and your pet with care. They combine extended hours with online booking to allow you to give your pet quality care while accommodating your schedule. Go online to forevervets.com to find which of their 9 locations is nearest you. And don't forget their newest location in Bartram Market. Forever Vets Animal Hospital, keeping your pets happy and healthy forever.
I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer, all summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com.
After a car accident, you can feel like you've lost control. I'm Mark Anajar from the law offices of Anajar & Levine. After the crash, call the police and document the scene by taking photos of all the vehicles involved. If you were injured, get medical attention as soon as possible. If you've been involved in a car accident, call the law offices of Anajar & Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation. And take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
They're breaking all the rules at Diamonds Direct with an unprecedented store-wide sale going on now. Save 20% and more on an expanded selection. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, including trunk loads of all new designer pieces flown in from around the world. But hurry, this first time ever 11-day sale ends this Sunday. In-store, online, and virtual. All options open. All merchandise included. Even thousands of engagement rings on sale. An extraordinary sale for an extraordinary time. 20% savings now through Sunday only. Only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway.
Celebrate your love with end-of-summer savings now at Beard's Diamonds.
Right now at Beard's, take advantage of 5 years zero-interest financing.
Yes, 5 years, zero-interest financing with zero down. Take advantage of Beard's already lowest prices in town. But now, spread your payments out over 60 months.
How about a $6,000 Takori or Veragio ring? You pay just $100 a month.
Or a pair of diamond studs for $1,500. You pay just $25 a month. It's the best deal of the summer. Get her that piece of jewelry she's been dreaming about and spread your payments out over 60 months. But it's only for a limited time and only at Beard's Diamonds.
Beard's Diamonds, located at the St. John's Town Center or beardsdiamonds.com.
Come into Beard's Diamonds. See the difference. Save thousands. Thinking of a new ride? Waiting for a sale? Well, if I got great news for you, because this isn't just any sale. No. This is big. It's the Big One sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota. During the Big One sales event at Arlington, you can get 0% for 60 months on 10 new Toyota models. That's 0% for 60 months on 10 new Toyota models. No one does the Big One deal like that. And at Arlington Toyota right now, they're giving you no payments until 2021 on your new Toyota purchase. That's right. You make 0 payments until 2021 on your new Toyota. And with every new vehicle purchased from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. The Big One sale just keeps getting bigger, and it's happening right now at Arlington Toyota. Shop them in person safely at 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/Big One sale for full details.
Let's say you have ED, male impotence, or maybe you suffer from PE and can't satisfy your partner. If you have either or both of these embarrassing conditions, Prime Men's Medical Center has the solution. Meet Dr. Rabinski, a specialist in men's health.
If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications designed just for you. There's no pain and no surgery. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues, not a problem. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, Prime Men's Medical Center has patients lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. You'll see results on your first visit guaranteed, or your visit is free. And best of all, it's affordable.
For a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians, call 904-206-8105. We guarantee that you'll see results on your first visit, or there's no charge for your consult. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now at 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
WFOX Fox 30 has been removed from the service of Dish Network after the satellite provider refused to agree to a fair deal for a new retransmission consent agreement with Cox Media Group. If you're affected by this decision to deprive you of important local news and programming during these critical times, make your voice heard. Call Dish today at 1-800-333-3474. That's 1-800-333-3474 and demand that they put Fox 30 back on Dish.
This message is brought to you by Community First Credit Union.
Stop for a minute. Relax. Jacksonville is going to be just fine. And while our physical health is everyone's greatest concern, it's important to think about your financial health as well. So if you have questions, we have answers. Answers that will help us all to a better, brighter future in Jacksonville.
To get started, text ANSWERS to 797979 or visit communityfirstfl.org to schedule an appointment. Federally insured by NCUA.
Jackson This Together is not just a hashtag. We believe it, and we are living it, all of us. Hey everyone, this is Brent Martineau. These may be uncertain times, but we can still lift each other up, share a laugh, a smile, and even a shout out. If you would like to recognize someone, maybe a healthcare worker, a truck driver, someone who works for a local restaurant, or maybe it's someone's birthday, call ** 690. Leave a message and we will share it on ESPN 690. That's ** 690. Give it a call and help make somebody's day.
I'm Kevin Hardy, former All-Pro linebacker for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this is Action Sports Jags.
I feel really comfortable, and it's interactive. I can, put schedules up, put things up on PowerPoints. I can do a lot of things. I can. They've really done a good job of getting us ready, preparing us, where taking less of that anxiety that we would have in that situation out of it.
That's Doug Marrone today speaking to the media, and for the first time really since, training camp started. I call them OTAs now, for now. And in a few weeks, things will ramp up. But no crazy news out of the Jags. Josiah Scott was on the COVID-19 list. He now goes on the active list, so he's off that. There's no timetable for that. It's a matter of just testing negative for COVID-19. If you were in it because of that, you could also be in it because you know somebody, and so therefore in quarantine. A couple other players were added today to that COVID-19 list, so it's going to be a yo-yo action with the transaction wire when it comes to that. The Buffalo Bills, real quick, have sent everybody home, all their rookies. I think they have 5 positive tests, I believe I read.
Yeah.
And therefore they send everybody home. I mean, just for the day. I don't know how long that will last. We'll see. But there's some news out there. And then breaking news just in, and let's get to it. We teased college football, and they delivered for us in the break.
Sir.
The SEC says conference-only games, 10 conference-only games. That's big news. One, much like yesterday in the ACC. When the ACC came out with their schedule, they said 10 conference games plus 1. They were trying to keep the rivalry games intact. Well, the other big news about the ACC is Notre Dame's now in the ACC for 2020, and they're going to share some of their revenue, which is usually pretty decent dollars, and they're going to share it with the rest of the ACC. So there were some big storylines. Well, now SEC comes out, and there were some rumors about this yesterday, and now it's becoming official, that 10-game conference only. I like that. That's better for football fans. Mm-hmm. But that did not come with a 10 plus 1. No plus 1. So now Florida State, hoping to play and keep that game intact against Florida, by the way, in a year that they definitely will not be favored.
I don't think they want that heat right now.
Well, no, they wouldn't. You could see them trying to say, no, don't do that.
We're all good.
We're good.
We're all set right now.
No, they wanted to keep the game. And Florida's saying, no. We're not. Well, it's not Florida. It's the SEC. But as a whole, the SEC basically said, hey, South Carolina, Clemson, no thanks. Georgia Tech, no thanks. Florida State, no thanks. A little surprised by the 10 only and not keeping the rivalry games intact?
I am a little surprised. Obviously, there's a lot of tradition involving those games. I think you tweeted it out. First time since, 1954?
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's 53 or 54, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously there's a lot of tradition tied to it. And the fact that it's an in-state game, so in terms of traveling and the hotel and all that stuff, you think that you can make that work. But listen, every conference kind of has their own way of going about business. And the SEC kind of announced theirs, and obviously it's not on the same principles and same line as the ACC is. So I'm a little surprised, but at the end of the day, I'm just glad that the SEC is not playing any cream puffs. Obviously, they're not playing any cupcakes. I mean, it's going to be quality SEC action, and it is what it is.
Let's, by the way, that game is supposed to be played in Tallahassee this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at what I'm trying to do now is look up Clemson in South Carolina and Georgia Tech. Now, obviously, Georgia Tech, there's not a lot of travel to.
Yeah.
But whose home game would it be? It would be interesting to see if all the SEC schools were all on the road this year.
Oh,
my point.
I got you.
But, I mean, sooner or later, they're going to have to fix that in the calendar either way with Florida. So Florida State, when they meet next year, do they play that in Tallahassee?
Yeah.
I would assume
Mm-hmm.
that will be the case. So they have not announced the actual schedule for the SEC, at least that I've seen. There are some rumors out there about what the schedule could look like, and it's basically the revolving door of the cycle of what happens in the SEC, where you play the other division, and next year you would play. I think for Florida, it's like Alabama and Texas A&M would be next up. Or there's a lot of assumption that will be the added. Those will be the added games. Mm-hmm. So Florida, who already has to contend with Georgia, might now have to contend with Alabama and a Texas A&M team that could be challenging as well. So their schedule gets a whole bunch harder because they had the easiest cupcake games on the docket.
Yeah.
Eastern Washington, South Alabama, and New Mexico State. So they lose those three games. And Edgar Thompson, just tweeting this out, $3.475 million in game guarantees for canceled games with Eastern Washington, South Alabama, and New Mexico State. So they'll save money there, but again, You're losing the ticket revenue on some of that. Well, one of those. I guess at the end of the day, it might be a win economically for the Florida Gators.
Well, and speaking of economics real quick, when do you think the announcement's going to be whether fans can go to the game or not?
That's a good point. It's really, I catch myself as I was finishing that statement. It's really not a win economically because at most you're going to have 25% in the stands. So it's not going to be a win economically in that regard. So that's a very good point. And they haven't come out with those. And Ohio State has said basically 20%, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of assumption that across the board, most colleges will say something similar. Ohio State fits, I want to say like 106,000. Mm-hmm. So most college stadiums fit, or a lot of the big-time college stadiums fit between 90 and 105,000. I think they'll all fall in line around 20%.
Let me ask you this. In terms of an optic issue, right, and I'm trying to compare, I mean, obviously the Eagles right now have said that there's going to be no fan attendance, okay? And I mean, I guess you'd say Temple, but so for instance, let's go ahead and say for whatever reason that there's not going to be any fan attendance at Falcons games, okay? But then let's say that University of Georgia says, well, you know what? Let's have 25%. Do you think that's going to be bad optics if the city that you're in, your NFL team, is having zero fan attendance, but your college team is having some kind of fan attendance?
Yeah.
Does that do anything for the optics or not?
Yeah, I don't think both would happen. I think. Who did you use as an example of that happening?
Oh, say the Atlanta Falcons said zero fan attendance, and then all of a sudden the Georgia Bulldogs said, well, let's go ahead and have 25%. Is that bad optics for the Georgia Bulldogs?
Probably, but now it is an hour down the road, so they're not right in Atlanta. Georgia Tech might be a better example because they're right there.
Yeah.
What I think of an example, let's just put it this way because we know the facts. I look at it as more like a Penn State and Philadelphia Eagles situation. they can't have fans. They've announced no gatherings of that size, so they basically can't have fans. And so my point being, if the NFL team doesn't have fans, it's most likely because they've been mandated they can't have fans. New Jersey's done the same, I believe. I don't think we've seen anything out of California yet. So if they've been mandated they can't have fans, well, that's going to also apply to the college team. So I don't think you'll get that. I get what you're saying. I just don't think you'll come on to that situation, given where the ruling essentially is coming from. So SEC goes to 10 only. I'm assuming Big 12 could land there. Well, definitely added conference games because everybody's going conference mostly, if not conference only. And we're starting to figure out the college football season as that happens. Here's what I like about this. The conference-only stuff, let's take away right now what I think it will be interesting to see how miffed maybe the ACC gets that the +1 isn't going to work with the rivalries trying to stay intact. Is this the SEC trying to be like, hey, we run the show and we're going to tell you what we're going to do? Maybe there's a little bit of a jockeying for that kind of bravado. Who knows? But outside of the +1 game where you could lose the rivalries, and in a minute we'll have a conversation about who can Florida State replace Florida with if they keep the +1s, which I assume the ACC will plan on doing. You have to love this as a football fan. Like, again, I don't like the Gators. Like, I don't have a team. So I'm not a fan of a team. If I'm the Gators, are supposed to be good this year. They're a top 10 team.
Sure.
Many people think they could be ready to take the next step. Kyle Trask could be better than people even think, and he's getting a lot of love. Well, now if I'm the Gators, I'm like, okay, we had Eastern Washington, and we had New Mexico State, and we had a few wins here, a good get healthy games, kind of chalk those as W's, and you're going to now add Alabama potentially, Texas A&M potentially, and that makes our record look a little different. That makes our chances at national championship maybe look a little different. That becomes a little bit more aggressive and ambitious to run the table with that kind of schedule in the SEC. And then, in turn, how much will committees now take the conference-only schedule into consideration where you don't have layups, but now it's really the strength of the conference is king. So the SEC, potentially, someone could maybe lose 2 games and get in.
Yeah. Well, for sure. So obviously right now, if you're a college football fan, you like it because, like I said before, I mean, you're not playing any teams that are like the FCS schools. I mean, every single game should be competitive. And I'm not sure, are they doing the bye week or not?
The ACC had 2 bye weeks built in. I haven't seen the bye weeks. I'm assuming they have at least 1.
Okay, so at least
and
one
they might
bye
have
week,
2. Now, one other note, we haven't shared this. They won't start until September 26th. So they're starting late in September. So they're giving themselves ample time maybe to get fans in and see if this thing changes course. And then they're also pushing back their championship game, I think, to December 19th. So the calendar is sliding a bit for the SEC.
Yeah, so in terms of, I think the SEC right now, they're sitting pretty. And we're probably going to see 2 teams again this year make it from the SEC in the college football playoff. To me, what it really hurts, though, are the teams like from the Pac-12. Because, like, those, for instance, when Oregon played Auburn, it was a close game, good game to kind of kick off the college football season. If Oregon would have beat Auburn, well, then all of a sudden, Oregon, listen, if Oregon runs a table, wins the Pac-12, even if they have like 1 loss, maybe even 2 losses, well, they beat Auburn. So it's all good. They beat an SEC school. So to me, the beauty of playing those non-conference games is like it can put your team on the map, obviously, right? Where the SEC is always going to be fine because they probably play in the hardest conference, obviously. But what it really hurts is like, the Big 12, I think, and even the Pac-12, where you need more of those legitimate opponents because your style of play, it's just different. And your style of play has showed that once you get to the college football playoff, it doesn't get you wins, okay? It doesn't get you championships. So I think this decision right here, it obviously hurts the Pac-12 and the Big 12 alike. Now, not to say that the champions of each division can't still get in because I'm sure they could, but I'm just saying it helps having those non-conference games to see if you're actually legitimate or not.
Yeah, I just put out there, does it give you more wiggle room or less wiggle room the way it's conference only and you're playing more games that seemingly matter this year to make the college football playoff. And I'm trying to wrestle with it in my mind. Again, I love it as a football fan. Like, for a football fan, I really don't need Florida State Samford, and I don't need Florida Eastern Washington. Waste of my time. Again, if you're a fan of the schools, I understand. You still see some beauty in that. You see some players play that maybe don't normally. You know it's a W. You can breathe a sigh of relief and have fun on a Saturday afternoon knowing that you're going to get that win. Yep. For me as a fan, I think it's a waste, an absolute waste. And by the way, there's an economic part of it for the smaller school that's good too. But let's just go from a fan point of view, just college football in general, integrity, competition, all those things where we try to get parity in NFL and Major League Baseball and everything else. We don't always try to do that in college football. You know, we don't. I mean, the ACC was Clemson and a bunch of JV teams last year. That was it. They had no friction.
Yeah.
Really, none.
Correct.
And so if you're trying to get closer to really the way sports should be, more competitive, parity, week in, week out, games matter. Well, this is beautiful. You got 10 conference games, and that doesn't mean you're not going to have layouts because there are going to be some bad teams. But Vanderbilt's probably not going to win a lot of games anyway. Who knows about the Boston colleges and Wake Forest, and we'll see. But I just love the competition aspect that every game now matters. What I'm tending to, my own question, I'm going to try to answer it. Do you have a little wiggle room now to get in the college football playoff with multiple losses? Would Florida be able to still get in if they lost to Alabama but beat Georgia with one loss and then losing maybe in the SEC championship game?
Yeah.
So I don't know that, but I would say I disagree with you a little bit. You said like SEC might get 2 teams in, and that's kind of the scenario I just played.
Yeah.
I actually now believe it's almost a lock if every team, every conference plays conference only, and the +1 really won't weigh in that much. But let's just say conference only is for the most part across the country in the Power 5. Well, now I firmly believe that the conference champions are going and one's getting left out.
See, well, here's the thing, though. I mean, obviously, if you go undefeated, then, yeah, you're in. I mean,
no doubt.
Yeah.
You're always in if you go undefeated. Well,
yeah.
Just about.
So it's up to UCF fans out there. So I mean, if you go undefeated in your conference, then welcome to the big show. Great to have you. But my point is that when you start looking at quality of losses, and it all depends how everything shakes out here. But in terms of quality losses, I guarantee that if a Florida loses 2 games to maybe like an Alabama or LSU, well, those are pretty, depending how those games go, right? Yeah. Let's say they're close, nail-biting games, as opposed to maybe, I'm trying to think, who's the favorite in the Pac-12 this year? Is it Oregon? Okay, so let's just say Oregon for whatever reason. So let's say Oregon
probably though, yes,
loses to Utah or loses to Washington, and they kind of have a 500 season, and they lost to them. Well, to me, that Florida team that lost to 2 legitimate opponents with the quality of losses, it overjumps the one loss to a Pac-12 team. So I think you have to take a look at when we're talking about non-undefeated teams that the quality of losses should count for something.
Yeah, and again, we could get to that point.
Well,
we don't know how it's going to play out.
It depends how it shakes out.
I just feel like now you're going to have 5 conference champions that didn't play a bunch of layups. They played their conference. And that was probably going to put more emphasis on being a conference champion than ever before. And there's already been a bunch of emphasis. This thing was designed to put emphasis on conference champions. And so now this, in my opinion, will put even more of it on the conference champ. And it will bring up the great old talk of an 8-team playoff because you could end up in theory with 5 undefeated conference champions and only 4 get in.
And this is my next question to you.
And then how do you weigh which was better?
This was just my question to you. I was just going to ask you this. So let's assume right now that each conference champion goes undefeated, okay? And you have 5 undefeated conference champions. Where we sit right now, what conference do you think would be out?
I would say the Pac-12.
I would say the same thing.
They feel like they're the weakest and have been the weakest. And, well, Clemson, by the way, Pac-12 and ACC was pretty weak.
Sure.
But Clemson has such a pedigree now.
Yep.
And same thing goes for the Big 12. Even if they're weak and it's Oklahoma, I guess it depends who runs the table. Because Oklahoma has a pedigree now of being in there all the time. Like the committee likes them. They've been there before. That carries weight. Alabama has carried that weight for the last decade. They're Alabama, so, we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think Oklahoma's got a little bit of that nod. I think Clemson could get that kind of nod. Maybe Ohio State could out of the Big Ten, but the Big Ten's going anyway. The SEC's going anyway. So I would think that would leave the Pac-12 out in the scenario that you presented. But, man, can you imagine if we get to December and everything's been played and you really did have – I mean, it's very unlikely, but you had 5 undefeateds all win the championships in their respective divisions, and you got to keep one out.
How crazy –
How fair is that?
I know, right? Sitting here right now, how crazy do you think rankings are going to be this year?
Well, they probably matter in that sense. But it's very, again, this is going to benefit the SEC because they're always looked at, and they have been, the power conference. This could hurt the Pac-12 because they're out west. They've been down. The USCs of the world have been, So that's not going to, I think, in the perception, in the voting, in the polls, probably won't showcase them like it will others. ACC is going to probably bounce back a bit this year is my guess. They won't be as bad as they were last year in general, and Clemson can carry the day. So I think the polls will be interesting to watch, and it could, the early polls, especially if there are some teams that remain undefeated because you don't have the cross-conference stuff and you don't have these rivalry games. Well, that early poll you could be stuck in that spot for a long time. It might be tough to hurdle somebody.
And that's kind of my point here, where if you have maybe a 1 or even a 2-loss SEC team compared to, an undefeated Pac-12 team, I mean, where do you rank them, right? Because usually you have the benefit of, all right, well, this Pac-12 team played this SEC team. Here's how they did, and let's go off that. But now we don't have that anymore. So it's like, to me, the rankings this year could be very peculiar. You could see some undefeated teams, obviously, having an outcry saying we should be ranked higher. Well, how's there a one-loss team in front of us? So, listen, I love chaos. I embrace the chaos, and I embrace the chaos, which is the college football playoff. We might see a lot of college football chaos this year, to say the least, if there is a season.
All right, so now the folks in Tallahassee are saying, okay, what do we do with this other game? The folks in Clemson, South Carolina, saying, well, we're not playing South Carolina now. What are we doing with this other game? What do you do now? And I haven't seen anything out on that. I don't know if there are contingency plans. I'm sure they had to at least cross their mind. These folks talk enough. The commission, they had to sense what was going on. Will they just cancel the +1 now, the ACC, because it will be hard to find a dance partner for that 11th game? Or will they try to find an in-state game? Because remember, that's one of the stipulations is that the ACC said if you're going to play that +1, it's got to be in your home state. So Florida State, UCF.
Wouldn't be mad at that. That'd be a good game. I mean, that's probably the only one that kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, because they already play Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other teams. There's FIU and FAU
Atlantic,
and USF. But
something
based
that
on
makes sense ratings-wise, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'd like UCF. But here's the question. Does Florida State want that, though? Does Florida State want UCF?
Depends how bad I don't know if you'll have too much of a choice of or being picky. I think it's more of, do you want to fill the game or not? And could we now see the ACC say, you know what, let's just go to 10? We were trying to do that to keep our rivals in order, and it's not working. So let's not muddy this up anymore. We're going to go to a 10-game slate.
For sure.
Could see that happening. We'll see. More talk about it. More back to the NFL as well. The NBA begins tonight on ESPN 690 with the Lakers and Clippers. We'll catch up in the final hour on the NBA.
Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233.
After a long day, having my dogs greet me at the door with their silly smiles and wagging tails makes me happy. I want to keep that joy with me for years to come. That's why I trust Forever Vets Animal Hospital to keep my pets healthy. Forever Vets was voted 2019's best vet in Jacksonville Magazine's Readers Poll, and it's easy to see why. The affordable wellness plans are tailored to meet all of your pet's changing needs as they grow. Open 7 days a week, Forever Vets friendly staff is available to treat you and your pet with care. They combine extended hours with online booking to allow you to give your pet quality care while accommodating your schedule. Go online to forevervets.com to find which of their 9 locations is nearest you. And don't forget their newest location in Bartram Market. Forever Vets Animal Hospital, keeping your pets happy and healthy forever.
You don't want just any old sale. You want the biggest sale with the biggest savings ever, right? Then you need to see my friends at Arlington Toyota today, because they're having the one big-time sales event. Want low payments and zero down? Then get to Arlington now, because during the big-time sale, they have over 100 quality pre-owned cars you can buy at zero down and $199 a month. That's no money down and $199 a month for over 100 pre-owned vehicles. How about choosing from 50 quality pre-owned trucks and SUVs that you can buy at zero down and just $269 a month? That's no money down and $269 a month with over 50 pre-owned trucks and SUVs. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everybody approved. You even get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy for total peace of mind. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. What are you waiting for? It's the one big-time sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/big-time sale for full details.
Before we can move forward, we have to get ready to start moving again. Movement is how we express ourselves. No matter if it's on the hardwood, the track, or the highway, movement drives our potential, and it helps us build momentum for tomorrow. Movement takes us further than we ever thought possible. It's what separates us in competition, and it's what unites us when we need it most. So when you're ready to start moving forward again, we'll make sure you're ready for every mile. Goodyear, more driven.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right?
Of course, making sure you have no holes in your defense.
Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless, and you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G.
And no contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. Check out terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
This message is sponsored by the Florida A&M University Medical Marijuana Education and Research Initiative, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Where I'm from, marijuana is legal. Can I use it in Florida? Nah, it's illegal here, man. But I have PTSD. Should I at least try to get medical marijuana?
That's legal, but if I were you, I'd talk to my doctor about qualifying conditions and to find out if medical marijuana is even right for you.
Thanks. I'll talk to my doctor.
Mortgage rates are at historic all-time lows. There's no better time. Duval! Purchase your first home or refinance with Crossview Mortgage. At Crossview, they have a proven track record with VA loans and helping people even when the big banks can't. Get pre-qualified. Do your application by phone in minutes. Let them help you save thousands. Call Crossview Mortgage, 325-9008. That's 325-9008. CrossviewMortgage.com. NMLS number 1377291.
They're breaking all the rules at Diamonds Direct with an unprecedented store-wide sale going on now. Save 20% and more on an expanded selection. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, including trunk loads of all new designer pieces flown in from around the world. But hurry, this first time ever 11-day sale ends this Sunday. In-store, online, and virtual. All options open. All merchandise included. Even thousands of engagement rings on sale. An extraordinary sale for an extraordinary time. 20% savings now through Sunday only. Only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway.
Hi, I'm Nathan from Gordon Chevy in Orange Park. I don't know about you, but I just want to get in the car and drive somewhere. Windows down, radio playing, exploring some 2-lane back roads. It's like a mini vacation. So I say, get in your new Chevy and go. Huh? You don't have a new Chevy? Well, we can fix that, like a new Equinox. Right now, the factory says take 15% off, but we can do up to 5 better. That's right, up to 20% off, or choose a discount and 0% for up to 84 months. Only at Gordon Chevy in Orange Park or GordonChevy.com. Chevy, find new roads.
After a car accident, you can feel like you've lost control. I'm Eli Anajar from the law offices of Anajar & Levine. Our legal team can help you understand your options after an accident. We will file your claim and fight for the full compensation you deserve. If you've been involved in a car accident, call the law offices of Anajar & Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation. And take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar & Levine studios. Anajar & Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
They fight in the swamp and face the eye of the storm. And next, they're coming to ESPN 690. Listen to Action Sports Jax tomorrow at 5 p.m. for a major announcement. This is ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN and the
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar & Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
When Notre Dame entered in this relationship with the ACC years ago, I always thought it was kind of to prepare for that pie-in-the-sky major conference realignment, world of super conferences that I think exists somewhere off in the not-too-distant future in college football. It just happens that all of those same pipelines can lead you to a situation where when something like a pandemic hits, now you've got a conference that we saw. Part of the reason you can have an ACC network is because of that tie-in with a brand like Notre Dame. We certainly saw what it did for some of the road environments. A lot of people point to the Duke game last year, a night primetime game on the ACC network where Duke is packed because Notre Dame is in town. All of these things, in addition to walking in there with the money that you can offer for this season, make it a very mutually beneficial partnership because Notre Dame did need games because of what happened with the Pac-12 and the Big Ten going conference only.
Golic and Wingo, one more day of it. Tomorrow, right?
I'd imagine they're going to have some cool guests. They were kind of teasing that on the show today.
6 a.m. tomorrow morning right here on ESPN 690. Last one for Golic and Wingo. And that's where you can start your day tomorrow right here on ESPN 690.
They were kind of joking about it. They're like, yeah, sports are back. We're gonna bail.
We're going to head out. End of an era, man. End of an era.
End of an era for sure. And the future lineup for ESPN already been unveiled, but will begin on August 17th, so still a couple weeks away. In the meantime, Jason Fitz, our buddy Jason Fitz, who joins the show often, will actually take over in the morning with a few other guests as well for the next couple weeks. So that's how you get your day started on ESPN 690. Here's how you finish your afternoon right here with us. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos, Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. We do a big announcement coming up tomorrow. We've had some big announcements this week.
Yeah, man.
Not for the station. Tomorrow will be for a station at 5 o'clock. They finally told me what it is.
Oh, yeah?
Now I know.
You know what it is?
I'm
you
hoping
probably
it's basketball
don't.
related. They got me media tickets to the bubble.
The 76ers are
Ben
coming.
Simmons is joining the show.
Weekly appearance.
He's taking my spot. Sorry, guys.
Actually, it's TJ McConnell on
Oh,
Weekly
even
Box
better.
Score Update.
The box score breakdown. Man, I mean, we got to bring it back for the bubble, right? For the playoff
First game's
run?
against the Sixers on Saturday. You would think.
What's going on in Indiana right now? I mean, is he getting a lot of playing time?
Well,
doesn't really matter for the box score breakdown.
Especially because of playoffs coming up. Like, it's so serious. Like, I don't know how much run he's going to get.
Yeah.
But with Bogdanovich going down, Oladipo, I think at this point is playing, but I mean, I don't know if he will. And then they had another player go down. His name's escaping me right now. So there might be a chance for him to get some good minutes.
Okay.
The news about the SEC coming out in the last half hour. That is a 10-game conference schedule. Yesterday it was the ACC said 10+1. Well, they did 10+1 to preserve the Florida State game, Louisville, Kentucky game, the Clemson, South Carolina game, the Georgia Tech game. Well, so much for that. SEC says we don't care about that game, essentially.
Yeah.
We're going to stay in-house. Thank you very much. And that's the news the last couple of days, college football. But college football is happening, so we do have that. David says, as someone who went to a small school with a former football program, I know that's a lot of money to lose by not being able to play big school a few times a year. However, the football fan in me wishes they would just skip those pointless games in terms of the pay-me games, and that's the Sanfords of the world. He might have been, David might have been referring to JU as a former football program. Yeah. So it does mean something for those schools. They won't get the luxury of that money and probably just scratch it right off the books because of the pandemic. And there's going to be a lot of money lost in college football this year anyway, even by the big schools, because of the lack of attendance, you would believe. Dan Drake says, travesty, I tell you, about the FSU Florida. Taylor Richard says, Clemson USC dates back to 1909 in consecutive years.
Dang.
Oh, history lesson there. Does Vandy go winless? Tennessee 1-9. Jesse wants to know. And I actually put out there, and the American Conference is going to play. That's where UCF plays. But we just talked about it before the break. If you had to add a game for Florida State, it's got to be in state, being played at Florida State. UCF makes sense. Now USF, or we'll see. The thing is not like they haven't canceled their seasons yet. American Conference has not. And so there's not a lot of fluctuation going on. And UCF already plays UNC. What I don't know is where that game is, because it would have to take place in North Carolina for North Carolina to play it. But just a thought. It was like a pie in the sky. Hey, maybe that would be a good matchup to find Florida State. Or we were talking in the break, you could get the +1 game does not count against the ACC teams when it comes to going to the championship. So will they either do away with it now that Clemson has lost South Carolina and Florida State's lost Florida and Georgia Tech's lost Georgia? Will they just do away with it and say, hey, rest of the conference, we're going to eliminate those +1s. We're trying to keep those rivalries intact. Not happening. Let's forget about it. We'll go to the 10-game schedule. Or will they say, because it's not going to impact necessarily the ACC championship contestants, because that's going to be based on win percentage only conference games, could the ACC basically be like, hey, Notre Dame or Syracuse, if you guys want to play the +1, if you have a dance partner and you want to keep that game, that's fine. Florida State, Georgia Tech, Clemson, if you don't and you want to just play 10 games, that's fine. Be interesting to see how the ACC reacts to it.
So the North Carolina game was supposed to take place at UCF.
Oh, well, that can't happen anyway.
Correct.
So now UCF could go play Florida State.
There you go. Yeah.
Because, again, the stipulation for the ACC is that you have to play that +1 game in your home state.
Yeah.
So that was scheduled on the road. So that already had to change. Maybe they just go down the road to Florida State.
I mean, you might as well, right? Like that makes complete sense. Once again, I'm not sure if Florida State wants that, but I think hey, I'd watch that game all day.
I think they want football.
Yeah,
that's it. So anyway, that's the latest on the college football front. And things continue to change, but in a good way, because we know there's now plans for a season. The other interesting note about the SEC, by the way, is September 26th. So they push it back all the way to September 26th, and that at least buys them a little bit more time to see what happens. Hey, Fulham lost today, but it's okay. Because they only lost by 1. It's an aggregate deal. So Fulham is going to Wembley to play for all the marbles to get back in the English Premier League. They won over Cardiff City 2-0 the other day, which means it's an aggregate thing. So even though they lost 2-1 today, they still win by a goal in the 2 matches combined.
So the game in Wembley is for all the marbles then.
That's for that third and final spot to go up to the English Premier League and get promotion.
Do we know when that game is?
No.
Okay.
I hadn't got that
There
far.
we go.
We'll keep you posted.
Absolutely.
It's not today or tomorrow.
Okay, good.
It's a few days away at least.
Cool.
So we will see what happens
Big
there.
game, man. I mean, isn't that crazy? Like, you want to talk about like a division on the line, or how about whether or not you play with the big dogs in the Premier League or not?
Well, and not only
on the
that,
line.
but listen, I
And
don't
obviously
know.
there's a lot of money involved.
I don't know a lot of soccer stuff, but I know that is worth like hundreds of millions of dollars, the difference.
Yep.
Going to the Premier League or not. So that's
no pressure.
Man, that's a big business
Yeah.
play. And you want to, if you're playing soccer over there, you want to be in that. You want to be in that Premier League.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I
Without
mean,
a doubt.
It's like any of the major sports over here. Patrick Mahomes took umbrage with the fact that he was number 4 and Lamar Jackson number 1 in the top 100. We talk about the top 100. Jags didn't have any players unless you count Calais Campbell. Apparently, like Leonard Fournette was on the cusp of it.
Yep.
But
Minshew didn't get in, much to the chagrin of you.
yeah, Kyler Murray was number 90, of course.
Yep.
Just because his coach has an outdoor fireplace.
There it is.
That's all it takes.
There it is. So salty.
But Mahomes at number 4.
Yeah.
When I saw Lamar Jackson number 1, everybody's like, Lamar Jackson. I'm like, he's not the best player in the NFL. He's not. Like, you can't convince me he's the best player in the NFL. But he was the MVP last year.
I was just going to ask that. Who was the most valuable player last year in the NFL?
Yeah, but I would say, and that's why I didn't say it. Really, it's like, okay, well, he won the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people have a problem with this. It wasn't just Mahomes. Everybody's like, how can Mahomes not be? How can he be number 4? How can he be the best player in the league? Which he might be. Listen, I think Russell Wilson didn't win the MVP, and I think you could make a case that he's the best player in the NFL. I think people, talent-wise and everything, they don't have the best stuff around him. Aaron Rodgers, people would say, maybe best in the NFL.
Yep.
And people, you can make a case for a lot of guys. And then if you want to go outside other positions, is Christian McCaffrey the best player in the NFL? Is he the most important player in the NFL to his team? I mean, he's like 80% of their offense.
That he is.
Aaron Donald, he's hands down the best defensive lineman. There's the separation between him and everybody else on the D-line appears to be strong and maybe wider than any other position there is in the game. Could he be the best player in the NFL? So I don't have a problem with the MVP. I don't think Lamar Jackson's the best player in the NFL, but he won the MVP last year, so that's okay. Mahomes is 4th. Whatever. I mean, it's subjective. I also wouldn't have minded, by the way, if they had put Mahomes as the best player in the NFL.
First of all, you're speaking my language right now. Thanks for not getting, like, overblowing this whole thing. I can't believe Patrick Mahomes wasn't number 1 overall. Like, listen, at the end of the day, the reigning MVP, the most valuable player, was Lamar Jackson. And I can make an argument and say that Patrick Mahomes, and yes, he's a very talented individual, the $500 million man, I get that. But when Patrick Mahomes went out with that knee injury where it looked like he should have tore everything in his knee, somehow he's like Gumby and, like, sat out for a couple weeks. When Matt Moore came in, the Chiefs didn't really miss a beat at all, okay? So I'm not saying that the Chiefs, missed Patrick Mahomes, because they definitely did. Who wouldn't miss Patrick Mahomes? But my point is, if Lamar Jackson would have got hurt that season, what were the Ravens going to do if Lamar Jackson went down? They're done, okay? They're absolutely done, because nobody is like Lamar Jackson. With all due respect to Trace McSorley and Robert Griffin as your backups, but you mean to tell me if Robert Griffin III would have came in there and tried to run the offense that Lamar Jackson would have ran, Griffin would have been okay? He wouldn't have tore everything that we've seen before in his knee. There's no way that's going to happen. So to me, Lamar Jackson is probably the most important player on his team, because if you take Lamar Jackson out, man, that's it. It's game over. I don't care how good your defense is. I don't care how solid your running game is. I don't care how good your tight ends are. You take Lamar Jackson off any team, and it's game over for you. You take Patrick Mahomes off the Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to be okay for a couple weeks.
Yeah, you're not winning a Super Bowl, but you're going to be away for a couple weeks.
To be fair, though, I mean, I said the same thing with Nick Foles and Carson Wentz, and Nick Foles won a Super Bowl because he had a lot of great stuff around him.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Do you think Chad Henne's winning the Super Bowl for the Chiefs?
I mean, realistically, probably not. But it's not a possibility, man. Who knows?
Here's my thought on Lamar Jackson. I think we've fallen in love with Lamar Jackson way too quickly. Way too quickly. I could feel it. It happened last year just because he was on your fantasy team.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big reason why.
And I let you know about it every single day.
And so I have mixed emotions about Jackson. I feel like they took the league by storm, did a lot of the things Mahomes did that second when he won MVP. Mm-hmm. They look pretty unstoppable. Yet we wonder if people are going to catch up a little bit and have to force him to beat them in other ways. So what kind of adjustments will the league make defensively to Lamar Jackson? So I guess simple question is this. In a show full of wagers that we normally have here.
Oh, yes. We're a bunch of degenerates.
Would you bet in Vegas that he takes the path of Mahomes from year 2 to 3, from MVP to doing it again, at least, in the conversation as one of the great players in the NFL and win the Super Bowl? And by the way, this question doesn't say he has to win the Super Bowl to get the bet right.
Okay.
But my point is, Patrick Mahomes was here. He was the Super Bowl MVP. Yeah. And he followed it up with, you know what? A guy that was pretty dang good again and Super Bowl MVP, but he still got them to where his game was good and they were good.
So you're saying, do I think Lamar Jackson, because let's assume right now that the Ravens are probably going to be good this year again, more than likely. So you're asking me,
that's part of the assumption, yes.
Yeah. So you're asking me, do I think Lamar Jackson will be a top 3 quarterback this up-and-coming season?
Fair enough. Yeah, because that's Mahomes with Ben, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So top 3 quarterback, which usually means your team's playing pretty well. Or, let's give you a good example. Give me an example of somebody that really, really took off and then maybe just dropped a notch or two is
Baker
what I'm
Mayfield?
looking for. Nah, not good enough. He never was that good.
His rookie year was pretty good.
Yeah, not that good, though.
Okay.
Not like wowing people to that degree, I don't think.
I got you.
I think it's better like Watson's numbers have been really good, though. But the team, he doesn't seem like he's hit the next stage.
Yeah.
Maybe Carr's an example of this. Derek Carr looked like didn't he have the one good year? And now he's kind of faded?
He had a good rookie year. Yeah.
But he never, even him, I wouldn't put him in that stratosphere.
Yeah, I mean, it's something different here. I'm trying to help you out. How
about this? How about Carson Wentz?
Okay.
Wentz goes from on MVP, like maybe the best young quarterback in the game.
Yeah,
and
from his second year.
He is no doubt dropped in terms of where he sits on the quarterback list.
Didn't make the top 100. Didn't make it.
He didn't make it?
Nope.
So, that's my point. That's a good point, right? But we still think he's good.
Yeah.
My point is I'm not trying to say Lamar Jackson's going to go from MVP to the 30th quarterback in the NFL.
I'm not
trying
100.
to say that.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm trying to say he could go from number 1, though, and next year be on the brink of not making the top 100.
Yeah.
So where would you bet the Vegas line? Is he Mahomes, continue the trajectory?
Yep.
Or is he a little bit like we're asking in 2 or 3 years, what happened to that MVP Lamar Jackson?
Yeah. If I'm betting that Vegas line, I'm going to say that Lamar Jackson is going to have more of a career like Patrick Mahomes this up-and-coming season. Couple reasons why. Now, if you look on paper and you can say, well, what do the Ravens really do to take care of him in terms of wide receivers, right? Because that was kind of the Achilles heel last year for the Ravens. That's why, in my opinion, the Ravens didn't go to the Super Bowl, is because they have great receivers at tight end, but their wide receivers are kind of...
Hollywood Brown had his moments.
Yeah, he had his moments, but he had the injury a little bit. So, but they didn't really add a lot of guys after that.
Snead. Yeah, they got...
Willie Snead, come on, man. But Willie Snead was like a 4th-string guy in New Orleans.
To your point, you know them for their running backs and tight ends.
Correct, yeah. So... there is the question mark here, but what I think Lamar Jackson has that no one really wants to talk about, yes, we saw something different that we haven't seen in a long time since Michael Vick, right? Where the guy accounted for 36 touchdowns. He accounted for 3,000 yards passing, but over 1,000 yards rushing, all right? We hadn't seen that. And the way that he just finessed people out there in terms of running the ball, it was insane. It was like, dude, you have 250-pound, 300-pound guys running at you to try to take your head off, and you're just I don't want to say lackadaisical, but you're just so calm and collected and make a miss. It's insane. But to me, what no one talks about Patrick Mahomes, once again, Lamar Jackson, is that I don't think Lamar Jackson wants to be Michael Vick. I honestly don't. Like, I get it. He has the speed, obviously. He has the agility. And, yeah, you watch him play the game, it's like that's the reincarnation of Michael Vick. Maybe even better. And Michael Vick will be the person to tell you that. But I just think that the way the draft shook out for Lamar Jackson and the way people were saying, hey, man, you want to try receiver out? Because we don't see you as a quarterback. You want to try receiver out? I just think that he has such a big chip on his shoulder is that he wants to prove people that, listen, I'm not this dual threat guy. I can stand in the pocket and I can deliver the ball. And that does a couple things. Number one, I think it's going to make the defenses that he goes against unsuspecting, right? No one's expecting Lamar Jackson this year to be a pocket passer and pick defenses apart with his arm. Now, he's shown that in glimpses, but I'm saying from a full game. No one's expecting him to do that. And number two, health purposes, right? Where, listen, I don't care how fast, how agile, how talented you are, your vision, eventually it will come back to bite you. That's how the NFL works. And if Lamar Jackson can kind of take it upon himself and be like, you know what? I'm going to beat you with my arm. Yeah, my legs are always going to be there, and you have to worry about my legs, but my arm is going to be what's going to beat you. I think if he can do that and obviously stay healthy, he's got a great shot of being Patrick Mahomes-esque.
Yeah, interesting. And I think you did say the right thing. Healthy is a big part of it, you know. And they got to hope that they didn't figure him out a little bit. And I don't know how you figure him out. The guy's so lightning fast and quick. And can you tackle him? Can he get hurt that way?
Yeah.
And can you square him up enough to hit him? And not that saying that people are trying. I'm just saying that that's part of getting hurt as a running quarterback. You got to get hit and usually get hit pretty good. Unless, I mean, it's an ankle or something like that. But and will defenses figure them out to some degree, I think, is the question. And they have to have the other parts clicking. You know, I think everything was working for the Ravens. That's my one reservation with the Ravens is like, you know, we would come in and be like, oh, my gosh, like they're like unstoppable. This is like Oklahoma's offense out of the Big 12.
Well, keep in mind that their defense is pretty solid, though, too.
And it is. Yeah. And they've actually been great special teams, too. But it's just like, that doesn't seem real in the NFL. But
eventually
KC kind of did do it 2 years in a row, although they ran into some stumbling blocks last year. Remember, it was like a month of time last year. It was like, what's going on?
But let's be honest, too, though. KC, they're kind of like the anomaly, right? Like, no one's built like the Kansas City Chiefs in terms of their weapons, their speed, even like, you know, the whole coaching plan. Like, I just think the Chiefs are such an anomaly. With the Ravens, though, like, yeah, I think on defense, they've gotten better this year. So you like that. But to me, it comes down to, because listen, and we talked about the Rams a couple years ago, right? When the Rams were in the Super Bowl, Patriots figured them out. Well, Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans figured out the Ravens this past season. And you take away the middle of the field, you leave the receivers in one-on-one coverage. They didn't have the talent, and I'm not sure if Marquise Brown was hurt, what the deal was, but like they just didn't have the talent to beat you on the outside, and that obviously hurt Lamar Jackson and going to the Super Bowl. Now, when I look at the receivers this year, once again, did they really address it? Well, you have Hollywood Brown coming in for his second campaign here. You make your most progress from your rookie year to your second year, I always say. So you got to like that. But then outside of him, you got Miles Boykins, you got Chris Moore, you got Willie Snead. Like, see, to me, the receiver is still the question mark, right? Where Tennessee showed you how to beat them. Now, is every defense built like Tennessee where they can do that? Absolutely not. But Tennessee gave you the blueprint to beat them. The question comes now with Roman being the offensive coordinator, where it had worked, in San Francisco. Keep in mind what happened in San Francisco. Teams got hit to Colin Kaepernick.
Yep.
Teams got hit to the read option. Can they kind of go forward now, throw another wrinkle out there, probably more in the pass game than the run game now? We'll see.
Yeah, we will find out. Hey, we mentioned earlier in the show, you got a fight coming up in South Carolina.
Correct.
Give us some more of the details, man.
Yeah, so fighting a guy by the name of Boom Gordon. He actually fought Greg Hardy on Dana White's Contender Series as well. So we have that in common. He's 3-1. I'm 6-2. It's going to be a 5-round fight for the heavyweight championship.
That looked different.
Yeah, so anytime you have a championship on the line, it means it goes 5 rounds. So obviously I'm excited. I've been training for this for a while now. Just been waiting for the opponent. Finally got to announce it. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. We talk about football coming back. We talk about basketball coming back, having a little sense of, things being normal again. While preparing for a fight, and going through all those things during fight camp, that's normal to me. So I'm ecstatic, man. I can't wait to get in there. It's going to be September 12th, so we're still a little ways away. But obviously I'm in fight camp right now, and it's going fantastic.
That's good. So with a championship is on the line.
Yeah, championship on the line. Yep, so it's for Warfare MMA, which I fought for before.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be a busy stretch, by the way.
Yep, because football is right around the season.
Yeah, now we thought there could be some college football then. It looks like that could get moved back, although ACC will probably kick off that weekend. SEC just said September 26th, but the NFL schedule kicks off that weekend. On the 13th, the Jags play, and then the Action Sports Jags Stream 18 is on the 14th.
Dang.
So how about that? Busy
That's a
weekend.
full slate right there.
You better bring that belt.
I'll bring that belt, man. Let's get it.
What will fans we probably won't be allowed to go.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's still up in the air, but I assume, and I'm not sure like how South Carolina's been dealing with everything, but yeah, it's probably going to be 0 fans. Obviously, there'll be streaming capabilities and things like that. Once I find that out, I'll share that information for sure. And I'll even tag ESPN 690 in it just to make you happy.
Very much.
There were a few people on the photo we shared on Facebook asking if there was a way to watch the fight.
Cool, yeah. So I'm not sure if they've officially announced because there's different streaming things you can do. They haven't announced it yet, but as soon as I find out, I'll be sure to pass that information along.
Yeah, I mean, now it's almost impossible not to stream something.
Oh, without a doubt. And especially when fans can't attend, why wouldn't you stream it?
Yeah.
You have to have some kind of public viewing, if you will.
I would imagine that will get done. Hey, when we come back, the NBA tips off tonight. Looking forward to it? What are some of the big questions with the NBA? We'll dive into it. Finish up a Thursday edition of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. ACC's playing football. SEC's going to play football. We think everybody's going to end up playing football in college. NFL training camps, OTAs, are underway. Bills rookies, though, sent home after positive tests. The Phillies had to cancel their series against the Jays.
Sorry, Coos.
So we still got this balance of some good news and not so good news.
Yeah, I know,
Get
man.
used to it. Ride the roller coaster with us. It's a seesaw. Jump on the other side. And on the other
gymnastics
side,
afoot.
Coos promotes the Drive and Dish podcast, and we talk NBA.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
A few widely scattered storms into early this evening, otherwise very warm and muggy, partly cloudy overnight in the mid-70s. Hot and humid for tomorrow and Saturday under partly sunny skies with just isolated storms and highs between 95 and 100 degrees. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where for a limited time, you can get 5 years, 0 interest financing. Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233.
This message is brought to you by Community First Credit Union.
Stop for a minute. Relax. Jacksonville is going to be just fine. Sure, things are changing, and change can be tough sometimes. Change in how we live our lives, our jobs, our kids. But this is Jacksonville, and you won't find a more dedicated, compassionate, and caring community anywhere. From Nassau to St. John's, from West Side to the beaches, God knows we can weather a storm, and we can get through this as well. And while our physical health is everyone's greatest concern, it's important to think about your financial health as well. All of us at Community First are here to help. So if you have questions about your family or business finances, we have answers. Answers that will help us all to a better, brighter future in Jacksonville.
To get started, text ANSWERS to 797979 or visit communityfirstfl.org to schedule an appointment. Federally insured by NCUA.
There's a new, modern, patient-centered orthopedic practice in Jacksonville.
We believe that the patient pays money for a doctor and should be seen by a doctor.
Ortho Edge.
They're getting the most technologically available medicine there is.
Ortho Edge.
You're going to get a much better experience with your physician. We all see our patients.
Get the answers right away and more focused care on patients.
Find out more about us at orthoedge.com.
Ortho Edge.
We're in the DePaul building attached to St. Vincent's Medical Center, Riverside.
As the major nonprofit safety net organization in Nassau County, Barnabas Center has been on the front lines throughout the pandemic, providing critical assistance to those in need of food, financial assistance, medical and dental care, and mental health services. Barnabas thanks its many supporters that have given hope to thousands of struggling individuals and families. For information and to support Barnabas, visit barnabasnassau.org. That's barnabasnassau.org.
Thinking of a new ride? Waiting for a sale? Well, if I got great news for you, because this isn't just any sale. No. This is big. It's the Big One sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota. During the Big One sales event at Arlington, you can get 0% for 60 months on 10 new Toyota models. That's 0% for 60 months on 10 new Toyota models. No one does the Big One deal like that. And at Arlington Toyota right now, they're giving you no payments until 2021 on your new Toyota purchase. That's right. You make 0 payments until 2021 on your new Toyota. And with every new vehicle purchased from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. The Big One sale just keeps getting bigger, and it's happening right now at Arlington Toyota. Shop them in person safely at 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/Big One sale for full details.
This is Pastor Abraham Lincoln Washington, and it's time for the truth. The two most powerful words, and at times most painful words, are the words, I'm sorry. But remember this, when you say you're sorry, it's far better to show how sorry you are. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. This has been Pastor Abraham Lincoln Washington, and the truth will make you free.
I'm Glenn Levine, a board-certified civil trial lawyer. That means the Florida bars recognize me as an expert in the field of civil trial. As a trial lawyer, I'm trained to investigate every aspect of your case. If you've been involved in a legal dispute and are not sure of your options, call me, Glenn Levine, at the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Though no longer little, teens still need a lot of love. Yet teens in foster care have a harder time finding it, as 82% of foster families are home to kids 12 or younger. You can positively impact a teen's life as a foster parent. With help from Family Support Services of North Florida, you provide patience, love, and understanding, and Family Support Services will offer specialized training, resources, and a community of support. Take the next step at foster-now.org. That's foster-now.org.
Florida children are eligible for head-to-toe coverage through the Florida Kid Care Program, which is high-quality, affordable health and dental coverage with cost as low as $15 a month. To assist families applying for Florida Kid Care or Medicaid and increase enrollment in the Florida Kid Care Program, the Players Center for Child Health with Wolfson Children's Hospital offers free application assistance. For appointments, call 904-202-WELL. That's 904-202-9355. Habla Español.
WFOX Fox 30 has been removed from the service of Dish Network after the satellite provider refused to agree to a fair deal for a new retransmission consent agreement with Cox Media Group. If you're affected by this decision to deprive you of important local news and programming during these critical times, make your voice heard. Call Dish today at 1-800-333-3474. That's 1-800-333-3474 and demand that they put Fox 30 back on Dish.
They're breaking all the rules at Diamonds Direct with an unprecedented store-wide sale going on now. Save 20% and more on an expanded selection. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, including trunk loads of all new designer pieces flown in from around the world. But hurry, this first time ever 11-day sale ends this Sunday. In-store, online, and virtual. All options open. All merchandise included. Even thousands of engagement rings on sale. An extraordinary sale for an extraordinary time. 20% savings now through Sunday only. Only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
You like money. I suggest you get your voice looked at.
It's allergy season.
It seems to be always allergy season, Stugatz.
That's because it is. The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
We're all focused, and we want to win the basketball game. Everybody's energy level is up. Everyone's pretty much confident, and that's good from the start, from us being 4 months off.
Well, speaking of energy level,
guys ready to go,
LeBron,
Kawhi Leonard. That was Kawhi.
Oh, is that Kawhi?
Everybody's energy level is up. Everybody's energy level is up.
Oh, that is Kawhi.
That's Kawhi, yeah.
Who else would that be? Come on, man.
I thought it was like a distorted LeBron. I really did. I thought it sounded a little distorted to me. So
no, that's just Kawhi's usual robotic voice.
How do you say that energy levels up in that like monotone, couldn't be more bored?
What do you think Kawhi Leonard's resting heart rate is? Like, are we talking 20s, 30s?
Gotta be, right?
I mean, like, yeah. I don't know, man. It's crazy. Like, I don't know. I mean, your basketball's back, all right? Like, you're playing the game that you grew up playing as a kid. Like, get pumped. Clippers, championship. I get it, Kawhi, but I guess that's why you're sponsored by New Balance sneakers.
Everybody's energy level is up.
I don't know if I appreciate the ability to do that.
I'm jealous.
Or if it's almost annoying that you can't have a little more joy.
I mean,
but
like his whole demeanor, like Brent, that guy right there is probably the least stressed person in the entire world. Because like he never shows any kind of emotion. Now maybe it's all just building up inside of him. One day it's just gonna come out, and heaven forbid we see that. But I just think he just goes with the flow, man. It's like he knows who he is, and good for him for being that type of guy.
Good for him. All right, NBA back with the Clippers and Lakers tonight. Right here on ESPN 690. And, Kuz, did you come up with some questions?
I did.
We'll go 10 questions NBA style.
Oh, wow. Didn't know this is coming. Fantastic.
That's what I do when I plan the show.
I guess so.
I surprise you.
Yeah.
And, we talked NHL earlier in the show, believe it or not. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did for like 20 minutes.
You better believe it.
And the NBA starts up tonight. I'm interested. I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm excited about how this whole thing works with if you're within 4 games after this little 8-game, end to the regular season, you have a series to play off for that 8th spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's going to happen. What's your prediction? Because this might be one of your questions.
I think it will.
You think it's going to happen in the East?
No, in the West.
It's going to happen in the West. It most likely will happen in the West, in fact.
Well, so I think right now the Grizzlies are 3.5 games up on Portland.
Yeah.
Now, Portland's the one team that's like, they're probably the most primed to make a run at it because they've got a healthy team now with Nurkic coming back. You've got Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum.
Who's willing to play.
Yeah. So you've got those guys that make a good run at it. You obviously have Zion and the Pelicans right behind them in that aspect. So, and I do believe the Grizzlies played the Trailblazers like the first game. So it really sets the tone for them right off the rip.
All right. Go ahead. 10 questions. Give it to us. What you got on the NBA?
All right.
I'm excited about it.
Whew. Hopefully I'm not too rusty.
Where are we taking?
Talk about the NBA here.
Hold on. Sorry. This whole screen just messed up.
Oh, speaking of being rusty.
By the way, I saw this. I saw a couple of stats today.
Yeah.
Reading up on the NBA.
Yep.
Was doing it. Do you know LeBron's would be, I think I saw that. Let's hope I'm right about what I read. He would be if he leads the league in assists, which I think he's leading them right now at 10.6.
Okay.
If he leads the league in assists, it'd be the oldest person to ever do it for the first time. He's never led the league in assists.
Oh, because he's a scorer. That's crazy, though.
But he's always averaging, 9, 10, it feels like around 10. He's got 10.6.
Guy's almost averaging a triple-double, it seems like, a game.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I think I read he'd be the oldest first-time assist leader in NBA history. How about this? Kawhi Leonard gone off Toronto.
Yep.
And Toronto has a better winning percentage, if you will.
Yep.
And I think might even be averaging more points or another stat this year than he did last year.
Do you give Nick Nurse Coach of the Year right now?
It's unbelievable.
You have to,
You
right?
probably have to.
I mean, yeah. Because, you take... Are they going to even do Coach of the Year and stuff? I don't know how that's going to work.
I think they still will.
Go and give him that award right now for what he's been able to do with that team.
With the expectations of them, dropping,
Oh,
obviously,
they
without
weren't
Kawhi,
even on my top 5 radar in the
miss a
East.
step.
Yeah, not even close. It's crazy.
All right, so my first question is, do you think we'll see teams kind of quote-unquote tap out early? So say it's a Suns team, a Spurs team that is far enough back that they almost essentially have to win out to even have a chance to play into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So they lose the first 3 games. Well, why are you going to play your stars? Do you think we'll see that? And obviously that'll affect how games would go forward in terms of positioning and potential wins and losses.
I mean, that could have a really big effect on who makes it in and who makes it out. It depends who's playing.
I'd say, in short, I don't think so because there's not enough games. Not enough games to tap out. You did all this work to get back in. You've stayed in shape. I'm going to go play my 8 games at the very least. I just don't see. I understand the nature of the question. For those kind of teams, even if it goes bad, it's an 8-game season.
Yeah.
And you got all the rest of the off. Well, it might be a shorter off season to rest. I just don't. I don't see it happening. You did too much work to get here. Too much staying in shape. Too much swab testing of COVID-19,
which is not enjoyable.
So go play your 8 games at the very least. I don't think so.
I absolutely I disagree with Brent here. I think teams will actually rest their players if they're on the outside looking in for this simple reason. You have to know who you have going forward, right? So I think teams will treat this kind of like a summer league where it's like, hey, we got some young guys coming in. Let's see who we have going forward now. Let's see who can kind of go in a roll, especially getting real game time experience against teams that are trying to fight for a playoff spot. So I think if teams are on the outside looking in, they're definitely going to sit their starters and see who the young guys are. Look at Bol right now.
Yeah.
Look at how much hype's around him from a couple games in the whatever preseason bubble.
And I think technically, which will be a fun debate for next year if he really pops off, is I think I saw a tweet that said if players start their NBA career in the bubble, so technically this is their rookie moment, they'll still be eligible for Rookie of the Year next year because it's only 8 games, maybe the playoffs, depending on how it goes.
I think I heard that too. Yeah.
Huh.
So I kind of want that to happen so we can watch the world burn and everyone on NBA Twitter debate if that's allowed or not.
But okay, so I'm confused though, because so if a rookie didn't play in the regular season,
if they haven't played at all, for instance, they were injured or just couldn't get on, and then their first games in the bubble.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to count to be their rookie year.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Again, it's
only
8 games.
I guess, yeah.
All right, rock on. We only are here until 5:55-ish.
That's fair. The other question kind of goes with what you guys talked about in general with the time going on is, do you think team chemistry will matter? Because ESPN released teams ranked by their chemistry, and the number 1 team was actually the Orlando Magic, who have a 90.2% chemistry rating because the team's essentially the same as the past 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lakers, we talked about this, I think, a couple weeks back. The Lakers don't have a lot.
No, they don't.
It's 30%, 33% or something.
The Nets might be the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just feel like the best teams win, man. I know. I think the separation at the top is so strong that you could find a team that will make some hay because of that or because of the continuity, but everybody's been disrupted.
Yeah.
It's too hard to predict which teams, whether they've got 92% chemistry or 40% chemistry. I just think the better teams are still going to rise to the top with the exception of maybe one little Cinderella that jumps in. but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be the Magic. And so I don't think chemistry will win the day.
Well, listen, I don't think it's going to be so much chemistry as it is defensive efficiency. Who are the best defensive efficient teams? Because let's be honest, we're not sure what it's going to look like coming back on offense. Teams could be rusty, but defense can win you championships.
I noticed. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
cool.
the flipping of the Bucks shirt. Fear the deer.
Okay. What was the Bucks defense efficient? Okay, never mind.
It's
We're all
they've
good.
averaged 101 points a game, which
AKA pretty good.
is by far the best.
Yeah.
By the way, did you know the Bucks had lost 4 out of 5 before the stoppage?
Yeah, because they're resting out. Relax. Hey, relax, Brent. I don't need this kind of negativity going into my Bucks playoff
They've
season
had to
right
sleep
now.
on that for 150 days.
That's the worst. Okay, so another question. Who has the most pressure on them going into the bubble and really the playoffs?
No doubt it's LeBron and the Lakers. It's the Lakers. It's LeBron's best chance, maybe last chance, as people say, although I don't think that's totally true. The Clippers are the Clippers. How much expectation do they have, even if they do have a very good team? And let's be honest, Milwaukee's still Milwaukee. The Lakers are the freaking Lakers. And LeBron's LeBron. Mm-hmm. And time's running out. The two teams I just mentioned, time's not running out on. Greek Freak's one of the young talents in the game, and Kawhi Leonard's got plenty of game left. Time's running out on the Lakers. It's all about the Lakers. The whole next couple of months are about the Lakers.
So I'm going to throw a wild card out there, Kuz. This is your team, the 76ers. Okay? Because we talk about Embiid's health a little bit, the chemistry with Ben Simmons. Listen, they haven't played together all season. I understand that. But I think from a talent standpoint, the Sixers are loaded, okay? And when we talked about, the preseason rankings, the Sixers were a favorite to win the East. Right now, no one's talking about that. I still think they have a lot of pressure going forward because depending how they do in this bubble and in this, in this playoff run here, I think depends what the season's going to look like for them for up-and-coming seasons with that roster.
So on the Drive and Dish NBA podcast, new episode out now.
Nice.
Taped this morning. We grouped them into I have 3 teams in the same bubble of pressure.
Yep.
I have the 76ers.
Oh, nailed it.
I have the Rockets, and I actually put the Bucks.
Okay.
And they were all there for essentially the same reason. If they don't win this year, big changes are coming.
Correct.
A lot of changes are coming. And the Bucks is more, if you can't win
Giannis
this year,
is going to stay or not.
Yeah, you want to win to make Giannis stay.
Yeah.
With Sixers, you people are getting traded. Rockets, people are getting traded. I don't even know what would happen coaching situation-wise. They did well enough, so maybe they don't move away. But I think that's why those teams, those 3 specifically, are under the most pressure because it could really change if they don't win.
It's a good call.
So who do you think is the most underhyped and overhyped team going into this bubble?
Ooh, good question. Probably overhyped in terms of winning. And by the way, they've done a very nice job. But they got no chance to win, in my opinion, and people will put them at the long shot to win, is the Miami Heat. I think they've had a heck of a season, but they ain't touching or sniffing an NBA championship, in my opinion. So I would say them as a little bit of overhype is more of a darling from that standpoint. Go ahead so I can get to underhype because I got to think about it.
All right, so I think we're going to run overhyped right now.
Yeah.
I think the most overhyped team is the Rockets. I think people are relying too much right now on the Harden-Westbrook factor. I've said it before on the show. I think playoff James Harden and playoff Russell Westbrook are different types of cats. And you have to wonder if it's the last shot on the line, who's getting the ball? Is it going to be Westbrook or Harden? Because 2 guys are very ego-driven, and I'm not sure how that's going to gel, obviously, when the stakes could not be higher in an NBA playoff run.
I would also throw in the Pelicans with Zion, just because Zion.
That's a good point.
They talk about it all the time.
Well, you just said, all right, you took the betting odds, the third most bet team.
Third most bet team right now in that bubble is the Pelicans.
Just because the money's good. I mean, whatever their odds are, that's why there's a lot of money.
Well, of course it's good. You know why? Because they're probably not going to win.
Yeah.
So, of course, the money's good.
Underhyped. Deal. I think you could make the case. I got to be honest with you, too. It's like I don't read every single thing about what's being said about every NBA team, and I think when you're in these cities, it might feel a little different. But I believe my perception of the NBA is it's the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Bucks.
Correct.
Right? And that's it. You can talk about all these other teams and their storylines, but to win it all, that's like That's the hype. That's what people have talked about.
Yep.
I think the underhype could come down to two teams for me, and it's the Celtics and actually the Sixers.
Okay.
There's talent enough to get it done in these. You can compete talent-wise, probably the Sixers and the Celtics with those other teams, but they're really not being put in that category. I'm not saying they're better than them, but they have the talent to compete with them.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's really talking. Like, the Bucks have been automatically gifted the finals.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Could the Celtics or Sixers get them? Yeah, I think they could.
Careful. But yeah, could happen.
So let's pick one. I'll say the Sixers are more talented, so probably not hyped up enough to win the title.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way I approached the question, because I thought Miami was, like, from a long odds standpoint, people like Miami and the story they are. And it's been a fantastic story this year, but they're overhyped in the sense of that they could win. They can't. They can't win the championship, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think the Sixers, although they've disappointed from a hype perspective, they actually could win.
Listen, to me, it's been my dark horse the entire bubble, and I think it's the Dallas Mavericks. I think Luka is probably one of the most underrated players around right now. I think after this playoff run, he's going to make a note for himself to be one of the best basketball players in the world if he's not considered that already. I think when you have Porzingis coming back, you know, the unicorn, I think you have an interesting lineup for the Dallas Mavericks that can give teams a lot of fits, to say the least. And like I said, I mean, with Luka Doncic, man, anytime that guy's got the ball, special things can happen. So I think the Dallas Mavericks right now, no one's really talking about them quite yet. But after this season, or after this playoff run, people will be talking about them.
I would also say I think the Nuggets are.
They're always then that, aren't
yeah,
they?
They're always slept on, it feels like.
For sure. Great players.
I would say them, and then maybe even the Raptors, just because, you know, nobody's talking about them. So the last one, do you think at some point during this bubble action there will be a coronavirus scare? Like,
oh, yeah.
As long as they keep on making hot wings at strip clubs, you better believe it. Go ahead, Brent. Sorry.
Yeah. Next question.
Yes, I think so too.
All right, and then we'll end it with this one. Who wins?
I almost said overhyped the Clippers, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I think the Clippers are made for this, man. Get Kawhi.
Well, that's the thing is Kawhi, like, if you're the Bucks, I think the last thing Giannis wants to do is have another run-in with Kawhi, especially after last year.
For sure.
So I think if you're the Bucks, you're hoping you're going up against the Lakers or anyone else other than the Clippers, really.
But keep in mind, though, last year's Giannis and this year's Giannis is kind of different, though, because Giannis is shooting threes now, and it's not bad.
30% clip.
Exactly. So with that being said, like last year, Kawhi could just, I mean, literally, the book was on Giannis. He stole an MVP, but the book was there. Just don't let him drive to the lane. Let him take that jump shot. He's probably going to miss it, and that's what happened to the Bucks, and that's why they lost in Toronto. I think this year, though, it's going to be different in Giannis's case. But to be fair, yeah, I wouldn't want to see Kawhi Leonard either. One of the best defenders, one of the best two-way players in all basketball.
Interestingly enough, back to your chemistry thing, is Doc Rivers and the Clippers, I was reading about them a bit, and they've kind of kept everything intact ever since this thing started. Like daily meetings. I think I read somewhere they like shipped all the guys Pelotons and had them, so from a chemistry standpoint, they may get a little bit of a nod, Doc Rivers, the way he handled this whole thing. At the same time, I almost think Doc sometimes gets a little bit too much credit. So we'll see. I got the Lakers, man. I mean, I think the Lakers are the best team. LeBron still, to me, is the best player.
See, I'm going to be honest, man. Like, if I'm not going to pick the Bucks, I mean, I'm picking the Bucks, first of all, right? But if I wasn't going to pick the Bucks, I am picking the Bucks. But if I wasn't going to pick the Bucks,
which you are,
which I am, though, by the way, it's gonna be a clean sweep.
So, are you taking the Bucks? I'm confused.
But if I wasn't going to pick the Bucks, so say for whatever reason, the Bucks didn't pull it off, which they will, by the way. But if they didn't pull it off, I actually like the Clippers. I think, listen, I can't look at it right now and say, what do these teams do in the regular season, right? Because if I did that, I'd say, yeah, the Toronto Raptors should be pretty popular to actually go a distance. I don't think that's going to happen. And obviously the Lakers have been a very successful team, but I just think right now in terms of what team is made best for the bubble, I think it's the Clippers. I think when you take, Kawhi Leonard, who just kind of sticks to his own devices, you have a very quiet Paul George. You got Marcus Morris, who's very underappreciated. Patrick Beverley, one of the best defenders in the game. I think you have a great combination of just blue-collar, hardworking guys.
Don't forget Lou Williams.
Lou Williams, by the way, well, we'll see what happens with
Loves
him.
his chicken wings.
Loves his chicken wings, by the way.
Chicken wings for everybody if they win.
So you have a bunch of guys who are just blue-collar, go about their business, and then you have a head coach in Doc Rivers who can hold them accountable. I think they have what it takes to actually go all the way. But once again, if the Bucks lost.
NBA starts tonight on ESPN 690. Lakers and Clippers, by the way, get it going on the ESPN 690 side. Couple games tonight and more games all weekend long. Hey, real quick, you like the second base? We didn't get to it today. Well, we can expand on it, but do you like it? Do you like starting on second? You like the way that's gone?
I don't mind it. I mean, I'm all for it. I think that the real play of it is it's going to shorten the games, obviously. But to be fair, right now, I don't need games shortened. I'm not going to watch the game, so what's the point, right? But I think it's something new. It's something fresh, exciting. Whether they go with it forward, I'm not sure about that.
All right. Second base, extra innings. That's where the runner starts, and it doesn't always work. I've seen it. They've tried to bunt 2 occasions. One occasion. That's it.
Yeah.
And they won. But then they're 2-2 in general. I think they tried to bunt 2 occasions. And lost 1 and won 1. I think that was the case.
Cool. Real quick, Driving Dish Podcast. Who's winning the NBA championship this year? Who's winning the final?
I think it's the Lakers.
As he's wearing a 76ers shirt. There you go.
Well, only one homer around here.
You bang.
That would be you.
One homer with the best defensive efficiency.
I had to get to the MLB, but we'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow. We'll have the latest on college football as the SEC takes shape along with the ACC. But what a now about the +1. Definitely some more conversation about that. And a big announcement coming tomorrow, 5 o'clock, right here on ESPN 690. Have a good rest of the night, everybody.
They fight in the swamp and face the eye of the storm. And next, they're coming to ESPN 690. Listen to Action Sports Jax tomorrow at 5 p.m. for a major announcement. This is ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN and the summer shower of savings continue.
Beards announces our most exciting offer ever.
Right now at Beards Diamonds, get 5 years, 0 interest, plus no money down on any purchase.
This is the best deal of the summer.
Take advantage of Beards' lowest prices in North Florida on diamonds, from engagement rings to necklaces. Then spread your payments out over 60 months. That's 5 years with no interest, not a dime.
How about a $6,000 Takuri or Veragio ring? You pay just $100 a month. Or a pair of diamond studs for $3,000? You pay just $50 a month.
But just like summer, these hot deals won't last long. Hurry to Beards Diamonds now.
Get her that designer setting she's been dreaming about and spread your payments out over 60 months.
Now's your time to get out of the doghouse and save thousands. 0 interest for 5 years.
Beards Diamonds, located at the St. John's Town Center.
Come in. See the difference. Save thousands.
If you have a specific medical problem, you call a specialist. Broken leg? Call an orthopedist. Cataracts? Call an ophthalmologist. At Prime Men's Medical Center, our doctors specialize in ED and PE. Listen to Dr. Rubinski, a renowned expert in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinski. If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications to help you last longer in the bedroom, regardless of age or past medical history, with no pain or surgery. In fact, you'll see results in the office guaranteed or your exam is free. Patients are now lasting for 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. And best of all, treatments are affordable.
Men, if Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, call Prime Men's